him a friend if you happen to be listening.
Well, I think it sucks. Thanks, Dino.
But I sound. I just never really thought of it. Maybe it's because the bit rate of the old stream was so lousy, and this one is so good. We've got nice crispy streams tonight. Thanks to we've got Tim B, protect his enemy, and also Tommy T. Although that is really Tommy's name. So we've got two full 128-bit streams going on tonight. It is my understanding tonight, this afternoon. I'm not used to that. Never did one of these in the daytime. Anyway, it's George, it's Kyle, it's Jeff. It's good to have you with us. It's 2018, and is your mic working, Jeff?
It's working.
Kyle, are you on?
Okay. Yes, sir.
My soundboard's not working though.
We're phasing out the whole soundboard thing. I mean, it's. Go ahead, go. You want to hit something?
It's childish, but we enjoy childishness.
All right. So anyway, we're glad you're here, and okay, you know what? That's it. I've had this. I'm just going to get out and say it is what it is. It doesn't matter.
You're bitter.
It doesn't bitter. You know. What can I tell you, boys? Start growing up. Well, I forget the line now already.
Well, if you pot me up, I can play it for
you. All right, so we're here. It is an unusual one-off. No, God knows this will be a one-off. I am never doing this daytime stuff again. 5 o'clock in the east. Actually, not quite. 5:20 something in the east. And we're glad you're here.
It's noon in Hawaii.
Well, you know, I've never been to Hawaii, but
this is almost a morning show.
It's almost like this could be the wacky morning show. So if you ever wanted to know what it was like to hear us during the daylight, this reminds me, Kyle, of when there was some radio station somewhere that was, I guess, in the late 90s, was running in the midday.
The late day.
And couldn't understand why people thought it was so ridiculous. The first time I ever heard Raleigh James happened to be in the afternoon drive. And I didn't think anything of it. I said, "Oh, who's this? This is great."
Right.
Now, though, I can't even imagine her doing a show during daylight hours. And it's the same thing here. We have never, ever, ever done one of these shows during daylight hours. Ever. Am I wrong? Have we ever done one of these?
You're correct. We're 5 minutes in and you already have regrets.
Oh, I have. You know how RJ said... No, sorry. Because if I say what I want to say, there's going to be problems. So I'm just going to just
Take the Howard Stern approach.
shut my mouth and just
Oh, you should
not,
say it.
just not do a show. But if I shut my mouth, so anyway, the show's on the daytime. If you're listening at night, it's fine. I apologize for the short notice. It's what it is. Oh, anyhow, there are still a few of you listening in the day, and I'm happy to hear that. I am happy to hear that. So, anyhow, phone numbers. So we have a new phone number. It is 610-901-0500. 610-901-0500.
Sexy.
Yeah, that is good.
How'd you land that one?
That is the Tim B.
Don't you just worry.
The Tim B.
Hook up.
We need to. I said if he had a business, we would promote it.
Let me not get into that. Let me not get into that.
All right. So
wait,
anyway,
you didn't-
I'm just going to come. I'm having a really bad day.
You didn't.
I'm having a really, really bad day.
You didn't even finish
I'm
the
having
Walker
a
shit.
really, really bad week, actually, a bad year. But it's culminated
Bad
in the
life.
last 4 hours. I think what was it that our buddy Al Frazier said? The fecal matter has hit the fan, or what did Big Al say?
Feces happens.
Oh, feces happens. That's right.
He thought it was very funny when
Feces
he said it,
happens.
too.
Yes. Well, I like that. I'm going to.
Well, the good thing is we're on the ground floor, so you won't be jumping off of bridges or anything.
Yes. So, I came in. Jeff flies in from Honolulu.
Oh, yeah.
or wherever it is.
Talk about someone having a bad day.
But you know what, though? You have other things that go well for you in life. So, you know what? Every now and then you got to pay the piper, whoever that is. But the thing is, because Jeff overall, I think, has a very good life. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, who am I to judge? Maybe I'm wrong.
We all have our respective challenges.
Yeah. But
Am I hearing the Jetsons?
no, you're hearing somebody calling me on my phone when it's known that I am on the air right now. What I was saying was, I don't know, what was I saying?
Maybe we should just turn off your phone.
I have a brain injury, as you know, so I can't think of two things at once.
Well, you didn't finish the Walker conversation. You got to tie in.
Yeah, I was trying to tie in before I kept getting distracted. I was trying to tie in. What were we talking about? Jeff was flying in.
Roscoe is an asshole,
Yeah, and
okay?
and Jeff had an awful night, just an awful, awful, awful night.
I think I got a half hour of sleep in the last 36 hours.
How do I pop a battery out of the phone? Is that possible?
Do you know how to turn it off?
No. There are
The
things
point
in
I'm
life,
so desperately
there are
trying to
things in
make.
life I don't understand. There are things in life I don't understand. There are people in life I don't understand. Okay, so there was... Kyle, can you just talk about this? Because I can't do this right now. Just explain what it is that we were supposed to explain.
Well, ultimately, Jeff was having travel troubles last night, right?
Oh, I was having more than troubles.
So there were a lot of flights coming into Philly, going out of Philly, got delayed last night because of the weather.
Weather issues. Yeah.
And in fact, our own Florida Nate was actually flying out of Philly. He was in town visiting his grandparents. He was going back to California. Oh. He got delayed and ended up having to stay in Philly last night. You were trying to come to Philly, couldn't get here. So as George and I were here doing final preparations on the studio, we were talking to you, and we were, testing the signal and everything, and we were, we talked to you. There were a multitude of possibilities of when you might or might not get here. There was everything from, a 4:45 arrival to
9:50 at night.
Right, and there was flying into ABE, flying into you were researching all the possibilities.
Yes, I was.
And when this was going on, we were doing the Facebook Live, and Paul Walker was very, very excited that the possibility that you weren't going to be here.
What a jerk.
Do you have the wrong pod up?
I do.
Yeah, it's the one that's the VCR.
Sometimes we do act a little too childish, and I'll admit I do too.
Right. So ultimately, Paul had a big ass boner thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get to call into the show and Roscoe isn't going to be able to fuck with me. So when it came... Sorry. When it came down to it, Roscoe was able to catch the standby direct flight from Colorado this morning, right?
I did, and the only reason I got on that flight is because I put my name in at 1 a.m, and then I just sat in a chair for 5 hours until I boarded that flight. I was the last one on. They actually pulled a couple of people off the jetway.
Oh, nice.
I was not one of them.
Ooh. So
that is the whole reason I'm here today.
So basically, when we found out, I woke up, I don't know, I think a little before 1, because as you know, I work an overnight schedule during the summer, and I woke up, I grab my phone, I check it, and I see that
everything that played out last night.
You're already on the ground. Yeah. So my initial thought is, okay, now we got to fuck with Walker, right? So I had this whole elaborate plan.
I really have to say he can be quite a jackass.
No doubt. So I came up with this idea. George and I kick off the show and pretend that Roscoe has not yet arrived. Because we said on the stream last night, hey, he might not be here until 6:30. We just don't know.
Look how close I am to the Gentner too.
Right. So ultimately, I was like, well, you got to turn that button off.
Oh,
hit the off. Upper left. Yeah, there you go. So I was like, all right, well we'll screw with Walker. I'll tell him we're going to have you call in beginning of the show. George and I will kick off the show, and we'll go right to you out of the chute. And then, of course, the joke was going to be, after sitting there silent for 10 minutes, you jump on and do your thing and hang up on Walker. But things got all screwed up.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out. George is running a little behind, and it is what it is. So be it. And we decided last minute we're going to bag the bit, because ultimately we do like to come out lay out the premise, what we're gonna talk about, what's been going on, yada yada yada. Start the show.
I think in the last 48 hours, absolutely nothing has gone right.
It does appear to be the case. I think you're correct in saying that. I think something that's going well, relatively well, is I think we're sounding 1,000 times better than we did last year. That's a positive, right?
The audio quality?
Yeah, audio quality. And not just the stream quality. Yes, our stream bit rate is way higher than we're used to broadcasting on. But last year, we just could not get this studio sounding good at all. It was awful. The replay sounded like shit. Everything sounded like shit. But I do think at least we're sounding a little bit better, on what's coming out of here.
I don't think George is coming back.
It is possible.
Where did that guy go?
I don't know. I don't want to assume, but I think I have an idea as to what's going on. But we probably shouldn't speculate.
Ding! What was that?
I don't know. So if you post on the Facebook page, let us know how it's sounding, quality wise. Not that I think there's anything we can do for it, but it seems like we've got some good listenership going on so far. It's really awesome, to have everybody, and I'm the reason for the time change. I apologize. I have to work tonight, and in the casino business.
Major tournament going on.
We have a major blackjack tournament being played in-house tonight, and when you're a dealer, you work on tips. So if you're ever out playing blackjack, tip your dealer, you cheap bastards. But, on a night like tonight, we're bringing in, all of our big players. Well, they come in, they play in the tournament. They actually do the tournament outside by the pool at the casino, and it's a beautiful day. And when they're done, all the whales come inside, go back into the high limit pit, and start playing. And, if they start dropping us, major coin, I could make a shit ton of money tonight. So, I
can't give that up.
For me, I can't give up that, that possibility.
Wouldn't either.
Yeah, any night where you can make, upwards of, actually, if we made $100 an hour, which has happened before, that's like getting paid for 4 shifts in one. What you would normally make in an average shift, that's like getting 4 shifts in one night.
I'd show up for that.
Yeah. So,
So it sounds like this is an exclusive event. It's not something that Jeff Ryan can show up to and throw my $20 on the table.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. So this is an invite, an invite only type thing. And it generally works out very well, for us as dealers. And
so are these are like professional gamblers? Am I understanding correctly?
Not professionals, but these are guys. They're high limit players. So these are guys that when they come in, they play in the high limit pit. We have guys that play. Our biggest player that comes in with any regularity, he is able to play. Maximum exposure of $15,000 in one hand. So
wow.
He can play $15,000 across 3 hands max.
So that's an upper limit, but specifically just for him.
Just for him. Yeah. Our normal limit is $5,000 on blackjack. So he.
Have you ever dealt some of those hands?
Oh yeah.
$5,000 hands.
Yeah. It's fun.
A lot of pressure.
I dealt a blackjack to Charles Barkley on a $5,000 hand a couple weeks ago.
Well, he's got $5,000 to throw around here and there.
He does. Tipped me $1,000.
That's nice.
Yeah, very nice. No, unfortunately, we don't keep that tip. It gets pulled.
Right.
But he threw me. I dealt to him. I was the relief dealer on his table, so I dealt to him a total of 40 minutes. In 40 minutes, he dropped me $2,500.
Now, has anyone ever disputed your dealing? So, in other words,
sure.
So, what happens in those scenarios?
They call upstairs, and 99.9% of the time, Kyle's right.
They pull the tape.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, there's cameras everywhere.
So what do they accuse you of?
They just think that I added wrong, or I had 19, you had 18.
Right.
No, I had 19, you had 18.
So you hit on a 17 when you should have stood.
Or you can't do anything about that. I mean, the only other thing that people normally call you out on is, they'll make a hand movement that I see as a hit, and I'll hit them, and they'll say, I didn't want to hit. Well, I have to call my supervisor over, and then they call upstairs, and upstairs determines whether that hand motion they made constitutes a hit or not. And I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. 99.9% of the time, I'm backed up. So
it's good.
Yeah, I have a pretty good track record.
Well, tell me about the 0.01% where you were not backed up. I'm sure there's a story somewhere.
Yeah, I can't think of any excellent stories of where we're human. We do dealers screw up. It happens, but more times than not, it's not found in the player's favor. But yeah, have there been times where I've added wrong, or it happens, and we reverse it and we pay them back, and just go about it. But yeah, it's just one of those things that I have the opportunity to make good money tonight. I can't give it up, and so we had to shift the show, and it is what it is. But so the whole bit with Walker, it would have been fun, but although truthfully at this point I guess we should have done the bit because George isn't laying out the premise of the show anyway.
What is the agenda, by the way? So we know we're going to have some guests tonight.
Paul Walker says you're an asshole.
Oh, does he?
He does.
Well, but we've already played that one already.
Tell Jeff he is an asshole.
I'm not quick on this computer like I was last year.
Yeah, what's going on with you?
Roscoe is an asshole, okay?
Yes.
Where did you capture that from? I got that from you, by the way.
Yeah.
Was that like a phone conversation?
It was a Facebook Messenger. You can send audio clips through Messenger now.
This is how out of the loop I am with Facebook. I still log in occasionally, but it's like some of the stuff. Like there's things in here I don't even know how to use anymore.
Yeah, no, it's as someone who still does use it on a regular basis, it is absolutely amazing. The things that you're able to do with it. I was talking with Raleigh about it a little bit last night. I really think that had Facebook been what it is now, how it is laid out, how it works, when we were doing the show, I think we would have been able to grow our audience, much more quickly and sustained it.
Despite that, there are some people in the room who will not use the Facebook, even if it's the next best thing since sliced bread.
That is correct.
Because he has principles.
Yes, and now I'm back in the room, so that could be me.
Blah.
Blah. All right, I would like to apologize in the rearview mirror. But I need to come back just because when I'm in the room, the profanity quotent plummets when I'm in the room. You ever notice that when I'm in the room, the profanity level plummets?
You dropped a few cuss words there.
For me, that is a lot. For me, that is a lot.
This is bullshit.
Anyhow, okay. Well, thank you very much for keeping the transmitter going.
There's a backhanded compliment if I ever heard one.
No,
Thanks for breathing into the microphone.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a discourse. That was funny. See, it was funny. See,
occasionally, yes.
It's very good, very good. Okay, so there are things to go. So you explained the stupid Walker thing, right?
No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I just found that because Kyle called me at some point when a lot of things were going on, and he mentioned something about a Walker bit, and you guys really like Paul Walker.
I don't like Paul Walker.
No, but you like talking about Paul Walker.
I like tormenting Paul Walker.
Yes. You like tormenting Paul Walker
because he deserves it.
Kyle likes. How do I put this?
Pretending he likes Paul Walker.
I'm trying to put this in a way that's not going to sound bad and I think I'm going to fail.
That's a Raleigh James line you just stole.
Well done.
That will be coming. That is a what's the word? There's a word for that. It's the opposite of a callback.
Can I talk to your manager?
Yeah, we'll be talking about some of our friends talking with other friends of ours.
God.
It's just the damnedest thing.
My balls are big.
It's crazy.
God.
So Kyle called and he said, Jeff is coming, because we didn't think Jeff was going to be here.
I didn't think I was going to be here.
Halfway through the show, and why am I looking at this computer? Why are we
because
looking at
when you
Kyle likes, how do I put this?
Pretending he likes.
I'm trying to put this in a way that's not going to sound bad, and I think I'm going to fail.
Raleigh James line you just stole.
well done.
That would be coming. That is what's the word for that? No, it's an opposite of a callback.
Can I talk to your manager?
Yeah, we'll be talking about some of our friends talking with other friends of ours. It's just the damnedest thing.
My balls are big.
It's crazy. But so Kyle called and he said, Jeff is, now that Jeff is coming, because we really didn't think Jeff was going to be here.
I think I was going to be here.
Halfway through the show, and why am I looking at this computer? Why are we looking
because
at
when you threw your phone or your keys.
Oh yes, okay, yes,
thing.
that was in anger. Okay,
Yes.
So when
Wasn't done out of love.
well, it was a show of love. Now it's just the show of reality. Not to be confused with a reality show. Very different.
The show of life sucks.
Very different sort of thing. So, Kyle calls me up and says, I think it will be funny if we did this. And I didn't quite understand because I had 18 other things going on and other phones ringing. And I just said,
I
said, well, whatever. It sounds good to me. Whatever. So
you are the one that chose to have 3 children. I just want to put that out.
I get here, and Kyle says, so Jeff, now, talk for the first few minutes of whatever. I'm like, what? And then it occurred to me, like, oh, that's right. He did say something about this a few hours ago.
Yeah.
And so we have to go to Paul right away. And I said, I want to go to Paul right away. What the hell? I don't go to anybody right away.
Nobody wants to go to Paul right away.
I quite frankly, I don't want to go to Paul in 3 hours. But, it is what it is. So, and so Kyle says, well, if he knows that Jeff is here, he might not call in. And I said, so? And Jeff, or was it Kyle? I'm getting my Jeffs and my Kyles confused. One of you said, so what? And the other one seemed concerned. And I said, look, if he calls in, that's fine. But
I mean, what do you guys expect from me? Seriously.
Oh, dear Christ.
Boy, this night is not going well, is it?
Oh, my God. He just spilled fucking coffee on the board. We might not be here for much longer.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Why did he even have coffee by the board in the first place?
That's an excellent question. But we might not be here much longer.
Well, goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm kind of hungry. You guys want to go out to dinner?
We might have to. We'll see what happens here.
Stuck my toe in the kitty litter.
That poor cat.
This is.
We did hear a hissing, for what it's worth.
Yeah, there was a hiss.
Oh, it's just like Raleigh's board. She's always talking about how she spilled that Coke in the board.
Raleigh does Coke? What'd you say?
No, Cola.
Oh, Raleigh only drinks Coca-Cola.
Oh, now I got to go dig that one up.
Dino.
Yeah, Dino was supposed to be here tonight. This could have been addressed immediately.
Well, what's he going to do? Unspill the coffee?
Yeah.
Dino's pretty talented.
He did start the first Greek network.
Oh, no. This pot, too?
Oh, yeah, you hit 2 or 3.
It may have even trickled into 4. I like how we're both sitting here watching him.
Yeah, this is
Of
fun.
course, it could have been the one that was already in trouble.
Right.
If you're going to do it, go big.
Dirt that was in this.
Can only imagine.
Yeah, of course, this is Jerry Lee's dirt we're looking at right now.
That's circa 1978.
Well, but you got to think there's some Dino dirt in there.
And Rob Federal, too.
There's some Tony dirt in there, and there's some me dirt in there.
There's a lot of Tony dirt.
Your cat?
No, the cats don't come down here.
Look, the dander's in the room, isn't it?
I saw one of your cats down here a little while ago. Maybe because we're here.
Yeah, but they only come down if I'm down here, or if the kid they don't come hang out down here, by themselves. So, but yeah, we need to post this. I think we need to take a picture of George cleaning the board. This is great. This is awesome, George.
It may be good for visuals for the 8 people on Facebook, but for the little people listening on the radio, it's terrible.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
How's your day going, George?
Can I hit the theme and just start this all over again?
Take 3?
Do we want to try that?
But the theme has to run through that pot, doesn't it?
So
No.
you said you heard a buzz.
There was a.
It was
Are you still
a
hearing it?
No.
it was a one-time hiss, but it is
RJ is now calling me for the 5th time today. Does he not know we're doing a show?
This program's terrible.
Did you return the call?
He just
hearing-
called me. I talked to him 4 times already.
I'm hearing the static now on my headphones.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right.
The cue is on in that. You're going to have to turn that cue off.
It won't go off.
Excellent.
It's stuck. Yeah. All right.
RJ, I can't pick you up. We're on the air right now.
Okay. This might be a good opportunity. Okay, that's enough of that. It might be a good opportunity to mention that the phone number is 610-901-0500. And all right, so enough of this. Let's get into some talk. Let's just pretend like the show is starting all over again. It's George, it's Roscoe, it's Kyle, it's Talk 500
It's a nightmare.
for now. It's also WDTT, Tommy T's channel. Now, Tommy will be ducking out because of a previous, because of the change in scheduling. Tommy's on VLT, and we will not be on VLT. That is
He has a
for
contractual
sure.
obligation
Yes,
he
so
must fulfill.
Exactly. It's sort of like when the station has to dump out of something to carry the whatever game. It was a prearranged thing, as they would say. So now I also would like to mention in advance, because it may come up later, that the only thing that is going my way for now that could end in 5 minutes, is that as you people know,
Moneyline?
the two of you here in the room know that I have been losing my voice. My voice has been deteriorating for a few years, and it really came to a head in the past couple of weeks. I had almost no voice at all last week.
I will say you do sound much better than when I talked to you on the phone
Well,
a week or so ago.
I've been saving my voice, and I now am beginning a new round of voice therapy in the coming weeks. So I had to get endoscopy. I had to get some other oscopy where I was watching.
Isn't that where they stick a tube up your...
No, that was a different appointment. That had nothing to do with the voice. I got to watch in high definition. I got to watch my voice box on the big monitor as they were, doing that thing. So that was interesting, to say the least. So let's talk about radio, right? Now,
I was going to say, that pot's really dead. You just had the volume down.
RJ is... Should we get to RJ first? Is that what you...
Well, he keeps calling me, so...
Okay, so...
Squeaky wheel gets the grease, I suppose?
Well, we have to call him.
How do we... Can we call out? Let's see here. Can he dial this... See, I'm hearing it. Do you hear that?
Well,
I do.
You know what you just did, George. You were tapping your fingers right by that pot.
Oh, jeez. Hold on, stand by. I'll turn it off. Off. No, off.
It won't go off.
Oh, this is good. This is, that's what you want to see. All right. Okay, then. Well, whoever it was hung up. We had one caller, and that caller...
I mean,
It's a comedy of errors, everybody.
do you want to go to... Do you want to call RJ?
Yeah, let's call RJ, Ron Joseph, and see what it is. So while we're setting up RJ, just tell him to call in the
You couldn't
this
run a Shell station.
This number here is the one.
He wants us to call him, George.
Okay, well, we can't dial out on this. Can we?
Make it happen, you asshole.
Okay, I don't know if we can. Let's see about that. Well, then everyone's going to hear his number if they can match the tones. I don't think he wants that.
Well, you'll have to do it off the air.
And And how would I do that? No. Okay, I don't know how to make that happen. We'll what?
I thought we were able to dial on that.
Well, you just saw what happened. I never dialed out. I was able to take it in. Let me just. Okay, all right. If I have to hold the button down.
Perhaps there was a reason. Perhaps there was a reason other than weather that my flight was
If
canceled.
I hold the button down, it'll work. So why don't we do this? Let's play something, and because I don't think RJ wants all of the.
Yeah.
Does he know what number he wants us to call him? Just the usual.
Far as I know.
Okay, then.
I can pull something up.
Here's what we'll do. We'll just, pull something up. Something, preferably something without a lot of cursing, and just throw something up there.
Do the best I can.
And now I just put something up. We'll have to regroup here and figure this out. It's Talk 500. It's Radio Racket 2018. This is let's just call this the warm-up show. The real show starts at 6 o'clock. So you're just kind of listening in, and that's unfortunate for you. But Jeff's going to pull something up here, and let's see what happens here. I don't remember. You were on B, right? You said VCR B is Jeff, right? Okay. So,
Well, just in VCR.
oh. All right, let's see about this. Let's see if this works here, because I want to get to RJ before the line drops off, because we were having some trouble.
Hello,
see, it's working, right? I've got it. All right, we have right there. We've got RJ Ron Joseph with us on the Big Time Audio broadcast. Hello, RJ.
Hello, it's about time.
We were having some
strategy.
we were having some trouble.
He told you.
I hope you're able to hear us all right.
Trouble is not the word. I need a save. I've been waiting.
Well, we are.
Anyway.
Yeah. So it's good to have you with us.
I have a lot of people around the country, my own listeners, that are listening to you.
No.
You have people that are listening, and they've been calling me, where are you coming up? When are you coming up? Anyway, I want to say a real quick shout-out to a lot of friends around the country that are listening to us. Marie Butler in Mobile, Alabama. Thank you, Marie. And I want to thank also Billy
Smith.
Carbo. And I want to thank a lot of other people. Jerry Foreman in Atlantic City and his whole family are listening. I want to say hello to Tom Brady and all the gang in Boston. All right.
Tom Brady's listening. Wow.
And
Shouldn't he be practicing right now?
Also, all the gang everything's fine. All the gang at the French Market on Santa Monica Boulevard in Los Angeles are listening on the big speaker. Thank you for listening.
So they've got us pumped in on Santa Monica Boulevard.
We apologize.
Yes.
No, that's good.
And
That
San
show's not good.
Francisco, we have our friends on the Castro District listening to us in the Marina District. I want to say hello to them. Also, a very, very good friend of ours from American Bandstand. She's a doll. She's a sweetheart, and she's in Marina Del Rey. I'm talking about my girl, Bunny Gibson in Los Angeles. Thank you for listening, Bunny. There are so many. Are you there?
No,
There you go.
We're right here.
What about Carol Beth?
You have the floor. You have the floor.
Carol
Okay.
Beth listening?
Well, first of all, no, listen, I have so many names that have called me because I couldn't get in on your line. Finally, your line is working clear. Am I clear? No problem?
You sound beautiful.
I sound beautiful. I sound
Yes.
like you, right. All right, listen, let me tell you something. We talked about a lot last year, and I want to just pick up from where we left off. They're finally going to retry the boys that caused all the trouble at Penn State. They had dismissed it all. Now they're going to retrial those boys, which I think should have been in jail for what they did to that poor fellow lost his life, Mr. Piazza. Remember we talked about it last year on the air?
Oh yes. Now what has changed though in the past year? What new information has come out on that?
Well, they're going to retry him. They found that the parents have spent a fortune on 2 lawyers, and they had dropped all the charges. Now they're going to recharge them, and they're going to go to trial this month.
Now, what are they being charged with?
Impeached. Let's ask that question. A guy by the name of Rosenstein should be impeached for holding back information. Where did you ever run a country when a guy in his position can hold back the truth about things that are going on?
I think our show's getting better.
We're not doing politics tonight, RJ. We're doing broadcasting. Your thoughts on broadcasting? What has happened to the business,
let me tell you
radio,
about
television?
Broadcasting is a mess in Philadelphia and other cities around the country. It's the worst it's ever been.
Yeah, just listen to
Radio
the show.
and TV.
Yeah, I think as bad as this show is that I'm doing right now, I think it's still better than anything that's on terrestrial radio right now.
We're coming close, though.
Well, there's nothing good on Philadelphia radio right now, so you're not missing much.
I did think though this would be
5 years to get body bags back from Korea, but I'm not going to talk about politics.
Well,
What is the president doing?
well he got the remains back
Yeah, how many years have they been dead, the poor men? that
since
lost
the
their-
early 1950s.
That's right.
And they're finally coming home.
Wonderful.
So I thought this would be a good opportunity, now that we have everyone listening to the show about broadcasting, to have you maybe tell a little bit about the new campaign that you'd like to undertake about saving a certain building in Ballackinwood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been trying to save Channel 10 from getting demolished. Only the real millionaires in Philadelphia, like Brian, Roberts, and Comcast, most likely will sell the ground, and some high skyscraper will go there. That building is an icon building. I started my career there and at their old building, 1622 Chestnut Street. I would like to make it a real archive of radio and television.
Who's going to pay for it, though?
Who's going to pay for it? Nothing. You leave the building as it is. You can't make a buck out of it, though. You only can charge admission, and that's why they want to make an 8-story apartment house and office building there. They'll make a fortune with that corner.
What is
that corner's worth?
Well, then what? See, I guess what I mean, Roscoe. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I guess what Jeff, and correct me if I'm wrong. I guess what Roscoe's asking is how do you present to the Roberts family to say, I know you could have gotten $28 million for that building, but here's why you should make it a museum instead.
It's a noble effort, but it's got to be worth their while as well.
Of course it has to be worth their while. It's $900 million. That corner's worth a fortune. And to put a skyscraper there would be astronomical. What did they do with the Comcast 2 building? He put it right next to the Comcast 1 building. And they're going to rent stories. They're moving Channel 10 out of City Line, moving it downtown. And that's where they're going to use that building. And I'm hoping that a television, beautiful, real archive building can be put there. And either the wonderful broadcasters of Philadelphia can underwrite it, or Brian Roberts can use it as a tax write-off. God forbid, he doesn't make enough money. He makes billions of dollars.
Okay, so what you're saying is that, I mean, because if you're trying to play a numbers game, I'm guessing that's a battle you can't really win. So you're going to be appealing to Mr. Roberts' sense of, decency and history here.
Yeah, but look, he makes so much money. He needs a write-off on some of the stuff. He's making so much money. He owns the 51% of NBC. He owns Comcast. You name it, he has it. He's buying other things up. He even made another offer for another conglomerate. He has a conflict of interest no matter where he continues to buy.
I believe he owns 100. I believe he. Sorry about the levels are wrong here. I believe he owns 100% of NBC, no longer 51, right?
I thought it was 51%.
I think he has the rest of it now, of NBC Universal.
He had the controlling interest last time I spoke to him, and that was it. They're wonderful people. They've been very kind to me, and I'm not putting them down. They know how to make a buck, and he does know how to make a buck. I mean, his father started with cigar manufacturing, and he's gone to a billionaire 4 times. So God bless them. But they could do something. That's a real. It could be really saved by making it a historically certified building. I did it with the John Facenda sign out on City Line Avenue. They wouldn't put it back up. The people that were working at Channel 10 didn't even know who he was. He was the icon newsman of Philadelphia, known from coast to coast. They didn't know who he was, but I got the sign put up on Monument and City Line Avenue. Then I said they should really certify that building as a historical site. And that's how they could make it a worthwhile museum. Not make a lot of money at the beginning, but a lot of donations could come in. Because that building could have the archives of some of the big stars that came out of there and went across the country. I'm not talking only about John Facenda. There are so many other people. When you were young, you remember the Gene London show. You remember so many other great shows coming out of there.
Cartoon
I did a show as a little kid, Action in the Afternoon, the cowboy town that was behind the studio. For years, we did a live show outside. Weather permitting or not, we were out there in snow and rain and mud. It was wonderful, the local shows we did with that building. It was a beautiful memory that will never happen again to Philadelphia. So if Brian wants to put a feather in his cap, he should keep that building or get it certified. I know we could get it certified as historical. It went up 1952, and that was the biggest building of all the television stations in Philadelphia. It had its own beautiful layout. The Bulletin paid for it. They owned Channel 10 in those days, and Brian Roberts has reaped the benefit of it now that it's become a conversation.
You had another idea.
It's all over. But, I'm just talking off my head. I don't know if they can make a big enough buck. And that's what they're worried about.
Well, they wouldn't be. I mean, it would be a loss. But if you're saying it would be appealing to their sense of community pride or whatever, or history, then I guess
right. And couldn't they take it off? He has so much money being made so many ways. It would be a write-off. Just owning NBC, it would be a write-off. It's an NBC affiliate, that building.
Isn't it something, though, to think, because you were talking about the conflicts of interest, and I couldn't help but notice now that you've got this whole situation with Sinclair and Tribune, and now it looks like the FCC Chairman Pai is signaling that he's got some doubts about whether or not the Sinclair merger should go through. And I can't help but think, and I know how you feel about the president, but he did have a good point on Twitter a few days ago when he tweeted about his own administration's FCC that the Republicans control, saying that it's ridiculous that the Comcast-NBC merger was approved seemingly with no problem, and I thought that was a tremendous conflict of interest. What is the problem?
It was a conflict of interest. Should never be. Do you realize Comcast was a monopoly in the city of Philadelphia for years? That's where he raked in the dough. There was no Dish, there was no DirecTV, and there was nothing but Comcast. You had other cables that he bought up. I mean, you had the small cable companies, Greater Media, you had Wade Cable, but none of them were a big conglomerate like Comcast. He bought out his competition. That's how he made millions of dollars.
Oh, of course.
He doesn't like me to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember every...
I don't want to hear the truth. I did it on my other radio show. Cohen didn't want to hear the truth. Brian Roberts didn't want to hear the truth. They were a monopoly for years. That's how they monopolized. Everybody who wanted cable in the Philadelphia area had to go through them.
And they have one fewer subscriber now, Kyle. Isn't that the case?
That is correct. I just dumped them.
There's more competition, sure.
No, Kyle.
Where I'm carried. I have to be carried on Comcast there. They monopolize San Francisco also. I've done my homework. I know what the whole thing's about.
Bunch of jerks.
They wouldn't let local stations come on. Local origination stations could never get back on. Why do you think my Channel 7 was freezed out here in Philadelphia?
Oh, right. You don't have to tell me. My King of Prussia channel was shut down by Comcast because they didn't want any competition on the local level for their CN8.
Competition. They figure, hey, RJ's little Channel 7 will give us competition for our local origination station where we could make a buck out of that. They squeeze every buck they can out of it. Comcast. They are not a humanitarian in any way, shape, or form. They want you to believe that. They pay wages to the poor guys that string the lines, and they do the most work. But they are not a humanitarian group.
But don't you want to be nice to them, though, so that they'll take you up on your museum idea, though, right?
Pardon?
You want to...
Hey, that'll be wonderful. I'll be the first one to go on a publicity tour around the world.
After what you just said.
Country to show that Comcast made a museum for radio and TV in Philadelphia where they made their millions of dollars.
So will you agree...
You can pay taxes for the buildings.
Will you agree to...
For the Tower 1 or Tower 2. They have not paid real estate taxes.
So I guess the question is, RJ, will you agree to drop your anti-Comcast campaign? As much as I agree with it, if they agree to your idea about turning the City and Monument building into a broadcast museum?
Wonderful. I would go on a tour bragging about Comcast, Brian Roberts, and everybody associated with them. If they would do that, that would be the best thing that ever could happen to broadcasting in Philadelphia, is around the world also. There's other cities that are closing down their buildings. They're not using those big buildings because no one's really doing local programming anymore.
Well, would you really need that entire building, though? That's a huge building. I don't think you would need that entire building for the museum. Maybe just maybe a third of it, and then you could lease out the rest of it.
Sure, they could lease out the rest. That is correct, but don't demolish it. You're absolutely correct. It could be leased out as a Trader Joe's. I don't know. They could give it to a department store, but have a frontage where the beautiful picture windows are there of all the historic people that came out of that building.
But I mean, not to rain on your parade, RJ, but that's a pretty ugly building. It's not a very attractive building.
Let me tell you something. In 1952, that was a modern building. It was considered one of the best-looking buildings besides the PSFS building at 1212 South 12th Street. That's another monumentally architectural and it really was a work of art. The PS office building as well as Channel 10's building.
I don't know. I just.
What he was going to build across the street with Channel 6.
He
went into a round building.
I don't think
it's.
I personally don't think it's a very good-looking building. That's all. I don't know.
Well, because you don't like glass, I guess. In those days, it was very big.
I hate glass.
Windows. You want it to be in a cubby hole like some studios are. That was a beautiful picture.
Well, let me ask you, Kyle. What did you think was the more attractive building, the Channel 6 donut or the Channel 10 building?
They're both ugly as sin.
well, one's gone now,
right.
so you don't.
I mean, the Channel 6 building was at least interesting because it was round. I don't know.
That was really original. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's very attractive. That's all.
Yeah, well, Annenberg wanted to do something against Channel 10, and he owned Channel 6. Annenberg had the money to build a beautiful building across the street. He didn't want to make it look shabby or real strappy. He made a nice building. But Channel 10, come on. For 1952, that's unbelievable. Today you would think, well, it's all glass. It's like every other building. No. In 1952, when I went in there as an 11-year-old child, I'm telling you, that was a beautiful building.
RJ, I was talking with somebody who works at Channel 10 a few months ago, and she's not on air. She was just not a name anyone would know, but she was talking about what everyone there is concerned about, especially the ones making the big salaries, that now they're going to be hit with Philadelphia wage tax that they have not had to deal with.
Absolutely. They're going to be coming right from 17th and Arch at the new building. Comcast 2. They will be in their Channel 10.
You had another good idea a few weeks ago when we were talking, and I want to, in a moment, we're going to promote some of the YouTube videos that we've done that people can check out after our show is done. They can check out the RJ videos on YouTube. But you had an idea because we had talked about, I guess it was actually Jeff and I were talking a few months ago when the 70th anniversary of Channel 10's launch came up about how, for the 40th anniversary, they did that wonderful special that I still have a tape of that they did in May of 1948, and then they did a really schlocky version of it 10 years later, and then nothing after that. So the 70th anniversary, though, I think you would be hard-pressed to find one person in that building who was even aware that it was going on.
I called them that day.
Yeah, Jeff actually called Channel 10, and they were completely oblivious.
Let me tell you, I couldn't find a person who worked for Channel 10 remembering who John Facenda was when we were putting up his sign on City Line Avenue and Monument. They didn't know who he was, so I suggested, why don't Comcast make a little booklet of the icons of Channel 10? And so the new employees would be familiar with the stars that came out of that building.
I think it's a great idea. I don't think it's going to happen because nobody appreciates history anymore, but it's still an interesting idea. I think more companies should have some kind of an idea of, of their history and the people working there, especially
their background of their company. Yes.
Yes, and I think you would be hard-pressed to find anybody right now at Channel 10 who could tell you much about John Facenda or any of those guys.
Yeah, all the big icons, they didn't know. And these guys were in power for 20, 30 years. And they did not know who he was. They said, who was John Facenda? It was embarrassing because I was there making sure that the sign went up because the wonderful people of Lower Merion put it up. It's on the Lower Merion side. And the commissioner was wonderful to me, and he put it up because it was knocked down.
And I think that was 10 years ago, so it's probably, the situation's probably even worse now.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're correct.
Well, that's a shame. And
listen, you know broadcasting inside out, and I do. I started as a kid. I would not know, and I don't even get the calls like I used to get, 20 calls a day. How can I break into broadcasting? No one's interested in broadcasting. No one's interested in radio or TV. It's nothing but a hodgepodge. The FCC gave millions of dollars to people that didn't even put the stations on the air. And just to clear it, they made it from the telephone companies paid for it. And they paid millions for it. It's unbelievable what an injustice that was to the stations around the country, this was. They bought your outlet only for one reason, to put it off the air, not serve the people of your community, and make a buck out of it. That's all.
Kyle, you deal with a lot. I mean, just because you're a teacher, you encounter a lot of young people these days. How often do you hear any young people asking about getting into broadcasting, radio, and television?
Never. And they know.
Never.
They know that I used to be in it.
And they still don't care.
Just 10 years ago, there was 5 broadcasting schools in Philadelphia. John Wade had one. The American Academy of Broadcasting. We had so many different schools. Now there's not anyone that teaches just broadcasting. If you want to go to broadcasting, you have to go to Temple and just take a course and then select radio and TV. But there are really no schools like we knew as we were when we were growing up. There were so many ways to break in, unless you just wanted to hang around, Dick Clark and WFIL like I did. I got into it ass backwards, but I got into the business because I love the business. I love the business, truly love the business, and that's what's a heartbreak, that the business is not like we once knew it to be.
RJ, before we let you go, when you mentioned Channel 7, and of course Channel 7 has a fond place in my heart, because of our time at Channel 7 in the 90s, and I know that there was some renewed interest, I don't know whether it was Broadcast Pioneers or one of the organizations you said was asking about Channel 7. Do people still ever ask you about Channel 7?
On their newsletter, they're going to salute Channel 7 posthumously with me. I believe it's going to be next month, and they're like 10 years. I'm out of Channel 7, and it was a great little station that served the public, and that's what we told the FCC we would do, and we were on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with family, clean programming. You didn't have to have a parental guidance switch to shut 7 off. 7 could have been a big thing if Comcast had put us on their cable. To get us, you had to have an antenna, and you had to want this programming that was on our station. It was great. It was one of the happy moments of my life, running a low-power television station that got out because I had my transmitter at the top of the Mellon Tower, and I got out from Center City, Philadelphia, where I should have only gotten out 10 miles, I was getting out 25 and 30 miles. This was a low-power station.
Oh, yes, I still have VHS tapes of over-the-air reception in King of Prussia that was still in full color.
Well, now, King of Prussia had a lot of nulls.
Well, I was able to get it. Of course, I put up a heck of an antenna.
Yeah, if you put an outdoor antenna, you could most likely get it with no problem, but there were nulls everywhere. There was ups and downs around the King of Prussia shopping center. We had a lot of bad reception, but the majority of our low-power reception was great from the Mellon Tower, and I paid top dollar to rent that, the triangle part, because I started with Liberty 1, I went to Liberty 2, we still couldn't get a good signal, so we went to the highest building, which was the Mellon Tower, and we had a wonderful following. I would come in every day at the station, 65, 70 calls on hold. And there was a low-power station getting all these opinions because we asked for opinion. Suggest shows and we will put them on. We were the real local, what I would say, we really served the public community what low power and television and radio stations should be. Serve your community. Today they don't give a damn.
I know, and
to make a buck, and you know what they make a buck on? News, weather, and sports, and that's it.
Well, not the low power ones. The low power stations were mostly home shopping and religion, I think, right?
Well, now it's shopping and religion. They are taking over those stations. Those stations that have been taken over on the UHF, it's all, infomercials, foreign language, excuse me, religion, which is a big buck. Do you believe that Jimmy Swaggart has 7 stations in the Philadelphia area carrying his feed, which is on satellite? 7 stations. Does he need it? Because he gets bucks out of old people that are ready to die, and they're going to give money to him. And they don't know what he's doing, but making more money with their money. So even Jimmy Swaggart is a fraud. He is a fraud. He only buys stations so he can put his message on repeatedly. 7 in the Philadelphia area. Every city buys more than one station, 24 hours a day. He bought my station up in the Trenton, and he's running 24 hours a day on my Channel 25. This ain't yesterday I got the business. I ran Channel 7, I ran Channel 5 down in Wildwood, I ran Channel 8 in Chestnut Hill, and wonderful Channel 53 in Atlantic City. George, I want to thank you for all you've done by keeping the YouTubes alive for me, and I want to thank Kyle, who answers his phone and calls back. He's very efficient.
He's much better than I am with that. But then again, most people are.
Look at that. Yes. I'm on Kyle's side, and I'm telling you right to your face, he is wonderful.
Yes,
Kyle has jumped up 200% in my book.
All right. well, no, he's the best. Well, RJ, thank you as always for being on with us, and our best to Robin and everyone.
Pleasure. You want to talk radio, TV? I eat, drink, and sleep it. I know everything that I think I'm right, and if I'm ever prejudiced in any way, shape, or form, I would stand to be corrected. But what I'm saying about radio and TV today, it's a real sad situation. As you see, no young person wants to get in it. It's not attractive as it once was. When I was a child, of 11 years old, I got into the business by joining a club on television, Channel 10, the Ghost Rider. That's how I got started. Yeah. So I do have a prejudiced viewpoint. Channel 10 is a place in my heart forever. Thank you guys for listening to me, and thanks for having me on the air.
Sounds good, RJ. Thank you.
Thanks,
and we'll
RJ.
be continuing to crank out more of those YouTube videos.
Thank you for helping us put all those YouTubes in about my life and all.
All right.
God bless you.
There
Take
you
care.
go. Thank you, RJ. There he is, RJ Ron Joseph.
The
with
one
us
and only.
on the big time audio broadcast, kicking it off. And we were going to start with Paul Walker. Although I guess that frees up a line in Philadelphia. Let's give out the phone numbers. Philadelphia, 610-901-0500, or you like zeros, right? 610-901055. I don't know. It doesn't seem to roll off the tongue well, but you say it. Go ahead. Say the number, because the way I want to see if
I
can
would
position.
say it is 610-901-0500.
Okay, so you would say 610. You wouldn't say
Yeah,
zero.
right.
Okay, so 610-901-0500.
500.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's see if we can do this here. Let's see if we can pull this off.
I was even thinking of saying 610-9010-500.
You were.
Yes, but I guess that's a bit weird.
Geek.
But that is the phone number in Philadelphia. If you'd like to join us, Radio Racket 2018.
Did RJ just break major news there, saying Jimmy Swaggart's a fraud?
I had never heard.
I love it.
Can I tell a quick Jimmy Swaggart story?
Sure.
I've been paying attention to him over the last 30 years. I've come to the conclusion.
About my son, who is 4.
Mm-hmm.
But before he was 4, when
About
he
to turn
was
5, isn't he?
Yeah, he's actually about to turn 5. But and this is the kind of thing that will haunt him 20 years from now. The tape comes out, but it is what it is. When he was learning the potty training a year or 2 ago, when he would
Defecate?
no, the opposite.
Urinate?
Urination?
Masturbate.
In his
Not yet.
in his pants, pull up. He would have this guilty look, and I would tell him, it's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. Just it's going to happen.
Now
And
don't do it again.
And you guys you can appreciate this, both of you having boys. But he had a way of saying it when he would almost break down and confess. I would say, "What's the matter, buddy?" And he would just look at me and say, "Daddy, I have peed." And it reminded me so much of that famous clip of Jimmy Swaggart. "I have sinned." He says it in the exact same way. So every time he would say that, I would think of Jimmy Swaggart, wondering, maybe he had a full diaper at the time. Okay, 610-901-0500. See, it takes a couple of hours to get into the show.
Non-content, baby.
And then the show will get better.
Speaking of, where's Bramhall?
Hey.
While you're worried about stupid stuff like Bramhall, we do have important things. Jeff Ryan.
That's me.
Jeff Ryan actually predicted something that has come true perfectly. Now, he was 11 and a half years off, but Jerry Lee has finally exited the radio business.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee, former owner of this board that now has coffee in it.
As we discussed, had he listened back when I made the prediction. And if I'd only asked for a $5 million consulting fee, he would still be in the positive right now.
Still be in good shape, yes. So
and I'd be a multimillionaire.
So I don't know because it's a private corporation. The specifics have not and probably won't be made public. So we'll never really know what exactly went down. But it seems from what we're hearing that I guess. The deal was because Sam Zell was involved in his big money. I guess would you use the word bailout? Would that be the word?
No, he forced him to leverage it. So.
But I guess the deal is he gets to walk away, and it's such a shame. It is such a shame when you think that at one point when we were starting this show in 06,
$100 million. Actually, even before that, it was valued higher around 2001.
Well, 04 is considered generally the peak, right? 04, 05, somewhere around there?
I thought it was earlier, but I might be wrong.
03, 04. Well, when did the Hawkins sell? That was 04, right?
It was 04, yeah.
Was it? Was it that?
So that was...
For some reason, I remember that,
ago,
No.
Yeah, it was not long after.
It was.
Really?
George is right. I for whatever reason, I remember that year.
Yeah, it was. I'm almost certain it was not long after we left.
Really? I feel like I felt like it didn't happen until we were doing the show.
No, because we had Alan Ludell on, and he was already a DEL when we had him on, right? So
I maybe you're right, but
and he worked
I don't
for
remember
Clear.
it that way.
Worked for Clear Channel for a time, until he finally said, it's been real, kids. I almost gave it the Channel 7 phone number, 610-90. Now I'm trying to say it like Kyle. 610-901-0500. I'm not used to saying zeros.
610-90-10-0.
No. 90-10-500 because it's Talk 500. So you had,
wow.
Once again, if you're just now joining us, Tim B., to the former Tim near Chicago. He's not near Chicago anymore.
Right.
Really just coming through big time for us. Also Tommy T, who's right now at the very moment on WVLT, but he'll be rejoining us. A lot of changes with the Tommy T network in the past year, right? He was Listen Up Live and the classic Jingle Radio, now under one umbrella, WDTT FM.
Who else do we have to thank?
We have to thank Kyle for answering his phones, as RJ said.
It was 2004, by the way.
Who deserves no thanks?
Well, that would be me. I just kind of showed up, and at one point, when because the day was just such a S show, I decided to come. I'm trying to clean up to make up for the earlier profanity.
You did say feces earlier.
Well, that's not a profanity. That's
slightly profane.
How is fecal matter profane? I mean, if you get, say, a stool sample. Is that?
It's a great term.
But that's what they call it, though.
Okay, that'll do.
I mean, it floats in that little tube, and all right. So let's go back to the phones. Let's see.
You've reversed age.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
You are trying.
But it's not. He's prepared.
He might be sleepy.
Either that or he's matured.
No, I can't be that.
He doesn't want to have discourse. Okay, should we take another call, or should we talk about Jerry Lee?
I'll take a call.
Okay. Let's see about this. Radio Racket 2018. Happy New Year.
Good evening, gentlemen. It's the return from Port Richmond tonight.
Oh, jeez.
Of several years. Yes, I'm back in Port Richmond. Kyle, let me say this. God bless Ron Joseph. And Kyle, you know what? I am grateful for what you've done. You've been busting your butt to try to convince me to join a casino organization.
Right.
You've tried to help me, and I want to give you props for this. Because you know what? I remember RJ said, God bless me, so now tonight I'm returning it to him. RJ is a true living legend, and without RJ, where would any of us be? Let's just be honest for a minute.
Okay, if you're just now joining us, we're hearing the great Mike Phillips.
Pardon me?
Who was with us Channel 7 a long, long time ago and on the old Radio Racket show.
Right.
So, Mike Phillips, so you are back in Port Richmond, I understand, due to a variety of things.
Divorce?
No, it's whatever.
I'm not divorced. I'm actually, these days, I'm still considered legally in the state of Pennsylvania. They still call it married man in Pennsylvania. But I've moved on from the wife.
But she's not returning your calls.
She's clearing his checks, though.
Well, I will admit something. I will admit that, one thing that I didn't do right was was succeed at the marriage. You know, you gentlemen that have been married, I congratulate you because I know what you put up with every single week of your life.
See, I feel like I'm walking on a minefield here right now.
Right? So Mike,
it's so great to talk to you, though. Let's talk about it. What is your questions for me? I know you want to talk about Mike Francesa. I know you've seen the pictures of me and Mike Francesa in New York.
I had not heard about this. No.
Was Jenny McCarthy
I
there
was
as
just
well?
about to say I understood the Jenny McCarthy thing from a couple of years ago.
Well, I actually got to meet Mike Francesa back in December. I called him on air, and it was his next to last show, but Francesa already did a Mike Phillips and an RJ. He returned to the airwaves of FAN, as you know. But, anyway, it was his next to last show, and he invited me up to come to New York City as his guest, and at the end of the show, I got a picture with him. He autographed my Phillies cap.
Now, it's funny. We were listening to Talk 500 the other night, testing the feed, and a great Mike Phillips call came in from like 12 years ago. We were doing the show. Now, Will, you said it's the return of Mike Phillips. I'm getting a bad mix minus going here. Are you guys hearing that, or is that my headphones?
Nope, it's me too.
it's in the headphones.
Okay.
But
But I mean, it's actually going out like that?
I don't know.
Sorry, Mike. I spilled some coffee into the board, and now we're having problems. Will you be returning?
That's okay.
Will you be returning to 1360?
That is a negative. I've established myself, as Kyle can attest to, I've established myself on Periscope with a nice little clique of folks.
On what?
Been in there. He's been nice enough to check it out.
Wait, you've established yourself on what?
Periscope.
What's that?
That is an application where you can broadcast from, and I have a nice little following over there of people from all over the globe.
Periscope is owned by Twitter.
So this is video then?
Yeah, it's like their Facebook Live.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Just bear with me. I need to figure out these levels. This is driving me crazy here. Sorry, Mike. Just bear with me. I need to figure this out.
Go ahead. Do your Joe Vitale work right now.
My Joe Vitale work. So what did you think of that? What did you think of the RJ call?
Oh, you know what? That was an instant classic. Like I said, God bless. I hope he's listening. God bless Rod Joseph. He always delivers a home run ball. Great content by RJ. And to answer his question, where broadcasters are cutting their teeth today is places like Periscope, and that's where a lot of rookies are beginning in the business today. They're not doing it on traditional television. They're going to the internet.
You know, Mike Phillips brings up an excellent point. I can't believe I just said that. Mike just brought up a great point because we talk about how there's no farm team anymore. There's no farm team. But really, this Periscope and the YouTube and all that, is this the new farm team? Because God knows radio doesn't have one.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but even if it is the new farm team, how many of these players are getting called up to the big leagues?
Well, and that's just it. There is some of that. I mean, some of these. Actually, I was talking with Raleigh about this last night. There have been. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know there have been some instances where people have been on Periscope or whatever, and then they have been brought on, I don't want to say hired, but they have been brought on to major platforms, to share their opinions. I mean, it is the way, it really is kind of the farm team, although, it's more watered down than the minor leagues of radio or television ever were.
Oh, sure, because there's just an infinite amount of...
Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is today.
Now, are you saying that anyone can do it? That is proof that Mike Phillips is doing it? Is that?
Yes. No. But actually, it's funny, Mike. If you remember, I don't remember what month it was. I feel like maybe it was last winter, and I know I told George about this. But when Mike goes live on Periscope, I get notifications on my phone, and if I'm able, I might pop them on and watch. And a notification pops up a couple months back, and it's Mike, and I flip it on. Well, here, he was on an Amtrak train coming home from Disney World, and the train derailed. And Mike went live.
Wait, Mike was involved in a train wreck?
He was on a train. He was on a
Literally.
train, a literal train wreck, and his live video feed from Periscope actually went mini viral. He was featured on the front page of Periscope.
So let me ask you this.
And he went up and had, I think he had 10,000
Mike,
people
is this
watching
is
at
this
one
true?
time.
Mike, is this true?
It's all true. Actually, I've been going viral recently, too. Last week we did a Howard Stern like broadcast.
I was going to say, he's got a virus thing.
Yeah, we've literally gone viral several times here in 2018.
How much money have you seen as a result of this?
Well, you know what? People who come into the room, actually, there was a previous app called Busker where they used to drop 20s left and right on me. So I've made some serious dough in the last 3 years.
What? Wait. People are dropping $20 bills because they want to watch your show?
They literally were throwing $20 tips. It was called Busker.
What, like you were on a poll?
They shut that down.
My
They would
goodness.
just throw the money. They would tip your broadcaster. That's what the application was all about, was tipping your broadcaster.
Kyle, how come we didn't get in on this?
I don't know.
If Phillips is getting 20s, we should be at least getting 50s.
We missed out.
I'm just kidding, Mike.
Hey, George, in all seriousness, how's everything going with the family and everything?
Everything's okay.
I wanted to check in,
No, I appreciate that. No, everything's fine. I mean, it's been a rough year, some illnesses in the family and stuff, but we'll be okay. We're trucking along.
I wish everybody in the Brewstar family the best, and of course in Kyle's family,
Thank you.
And the Ryan family, and everybody else out there.
Thank you.
And listen, it's important I mention this, even though they're no longer with us. Still, God bless Joe Benson and Jim Williams. I don't ever want those two gentlemen to be forgotten. Those two gentlemen did a lot to help me, and I want to say I'm grateful for everything that the Radio Racket as a whole has done for me over the years. I just want to make sure I get that out there.
I just want some clarity. What have we done?
You promoted the broadcast. You helped the 1360 show get some. You put that show on the map.
This is true.
He is right.
Glad to help out.
I mean, the John Forsythe station, I know this from personal experience, doesn't typically get a big cume at 8:30 at night on a Thursday.
Foresight.
Forsythe.
You mispronounced
You know what?
his name.
As far as Foresight, I don't know what happened to that guy. He probably choked on an onion pizza.
Well, yeah, whatever happened to that? I understand that he doesn't own that.
Self-centered jerk. He was all about the money. He
Well,
didn't care about
it's a brokered station. I mean, that happens on a brokered station. Now, Mike, when are we going to get you out? When are we going to get you out here, Mike?
To Kyle's home.
I don't know. I left King of Prussia, George. I moved. I was in Norristown.
We're not in King of Prussia
I'm now
anymore.
back in Port Richmond.
No, well, we're not in Port Richmond anymore because we didn't want to have to pay the city wage tax like
Right.
Channel 10 now will be doing.
Well, you know, the Channel 10 thing is interesting. It's interesting what RJ brought up because I've met a lot of people from Channel 6, Channel 10. I drive for Uber these days. That's what I do for a full-time job. And I've actually drove many producers and off-air people with Channel 10. And but I got to know the on-air staff at 6. Actually, you know what happened back about maybe a year and a half ago? Brian Taft, I went on Twitter and I called him the Cheese Man. I just don't like the guy's delivery. It's too cheesy. And you know, it's not like that. I mean, we were friends up till that, and he responded on Twitter. It led to a little bit of a hissy going on, you know. And then, of course, Tom McCarthy and me are still buddies on Twitter. So, you know, I mean, you win some, you lose some, but, you know, I try to keep it relevant, you know.
Wait, so what you're saying is you were friends with Brian Taft from the TV because of the driving, and then you called him the Cheese Man, and now you don't know why he doesn't like you anymore?
Well, no. Here's what happened was I was friends with him on Twitter, and like Action News used to run this chat for the 4 o'clock news. So, you know, I mean, we were cool. Him and Charlene Allicott actually put a picture of me and the, ex-wife, I guess we'll call her in this case. You know, they put a picture of us on the news, and Charlene put a big deal out of it. Charlene's always been nice to me. And I tell you what, Lisa Vitarelli's a doll baby. She was I have a nephew that's a little, he's got a disease, he's got mitochondrial disease. And Alicia's been praying for him throughout the years. And, she's a sweetheart.
Now, I do know who she is.
Anybody else says anything bad about her, she's a nice woman.
No,
She's
yes.
a very nice woman.
I don't know the other one. Who was the other? Who
God bless Alicia Vitarelli.
was the other name?
Charlene Allicott.
Now, is that on air, I guess, right?
She's in New York at 7 now. She's at ABC 7 now. She made it to the big time. She was a New York girl. And by the way, how about John Bolaris? I don't know if you heard it, like last year,
no.
the Phillies game, we snapped some pictures together, me and John Bolaris, yeah. So,
what's that guy up to these days?
Tonight, you know?
What's that guy up to these days, besides getting robbed by Russian hookers?
Believe it or not, he's a real estate guy. Bolaris is doing well for himself.
Is he really?
Yeah, I did see that.
Real estate. Yeah,
so many former broadcast people get into real estate.
Oh, boy.
Like Kim Douglas, we can drop all the names.
There's actually a lot. That has happened a lot, though. You do see that a lot for some reason.
Listen, hey, by the way, a very inspiring story with Tori, by the way. I wanted to touch on that before I go. Great job by Tori there. That was a great story. So God bless Tori.
Tori with Asperger's.
Yeah, the all-new Tour 94. We'll be talking about that actually coming up. In fact, that's a good segue. So, Mike, thank you. And, Mike, we were talking about one of these days we're going to dig up some of the old Channel 7 stuff and get it on that YouTube.
You rendered him speechless.
Mike? Oh, what happened? Oh, he hung up? Oh. Sorry, Mike. We did not hang up on him.
I'm going south. I'm gonna go south myself.
All right, I got a message here from
Jill?
Rob Federal, and Rob Federal's been trying to get through. He can't get through, so maybe we're keeping the calls on. We haven't had many calls on, and then, but we'll say hi to Rob Federal, and hopefully Rob will be able to get through at some point. Phone number 610-901-0500, and other things though, lots of things to talk about tonight.
Do we lead off with the Dennis and Judy or what?
Yeah, so have you been following this?
I just read the article.
A little bit.
Because it's been a tumultuous week. I haven't really followed this too much. I did hear a clip. I don't know if it's the only clip. I do think that this is one of those stories where a lot is lost in translation. Sometimes you talk via text. You can't get the full story because you can't see body language, you can't see emotion, you can't hear tone of voice. So when you're reading a printed article about what was said, it could be seen as kind of bad. But if you hear the clip, now maybe there's more to it that I don't know about, where it sounds as though they were trying to be funny, and I really believe, now I'm not defending the intelligence of in 2018 of doing that, I'm simply saying I'm wondering, put it this way, there's no part of me that thinks they thought at the time they were doing that bit, which was all of 20 seconds, that it was ever going to lead to something like this.
Well, then they're stupid, because you can't do what they did. You just can't do that today.
Was there more to it that I'm not aware of? I only heard the one clip of Dennis trying to figure out the fellow's name, and he couldn't remember it, and he said, I guess, the guy with the turban, and then Judy said, Turban Man, which was a takeoff on the
Trojan condom commercial.
Which I did not see that in some of the articles I was reading. I read articles that made no reference to the takeoff on the condom commercial and simply said they continued referring to him as Turban Man.
See,
which doesn't, to me, that doesn't translate into the full story.
But they did. I mean, actually, I don't know if that article is still up on Chrome over there, Jeff. We can play the clip. It's right on.
Which one? What was it? NJ.com?
No, it was I think Washington Post. It's that's what it's open in Chrome. If you go scroll down, that clip is about midway down in that article, and we can listen to the whole clip. I mean, I listened to it earlier. You just
okay. Maybe I didn't hear the whole thing, so go ahead. Let's hear this. I don't
have. I think I may have closed it here.
So, well, Kyle, though, from what I just said, though, was there more to the story that maybe I didn't?
I got Chrome
catch.
Let's go over here. This one.
It's Talk 500. It's Talk500.net. It's 610-901-0500. Radio Racket 2018.
All right, here we go. We can play it.
Let's see about this. You're live. You're on.
You know the attorney general. I'm never going to know his name. I'm just going to say the guy with the turban. Okay. Do you know attorney general?
Okay.
Listen. And if that offends you, then don't wear the turban man. And I'll remember your name.
Tell him the guy.
But Turban Man, is that highly offensive?
To me?
Yeah.
No. to people who wear turbans? Could be.
Could be, but if you called me baseball hat man and I was in a case where you wore a baseball hat,
Right.
and they called me baseball hat man, should I be offended?
I know. I would say no.
No. So anyway, the Attorney General, Turban Man, says he's not going to prosecute pot things until September. Like all of a sudden, he got a free pass on pot.
Was there more to it?
That's the clip.
That was
so
the clip.
Kyle has a point. You're right. You can't do stuff like that. I think it's innocuous. I don't think it's a big deal, but it lacks common sense.
I totally agree with Jeff. To me, Jeff said it better than I could have.
But
that's exactly.
I mean, where it goes astray, and where it enters the realm of stupid, is when he says, "If I'm wearing a baseball hat," and they refer to me as baseball hat man. Not the same thing.
Well, but he says it's because
you're right. I see.
It's not the same.
He says it because it's absurd. You know, I mean, it's,
but to Sikhs wearing a turban is not absurd. So you just can't make that joke today. I mean, that's reality in 2018.
Now, could that be just the generational difference that Dennis comes from
clearly,
a generation that is? I mean, and we're kind of, I guess, in between.
This is why I find the world so disappointing on a daily basis.
Yeah, I read, I've read some comments here and there, online, and it's the type of thing that when you make a comment like that, if you made that comment 20 years ago,
nobody would have cared.
Yeah, people laugh it off, and whatever, but now with the internet, with how it is intertwined in our lives, and it sits in the palm of our hands, 16 hours out of 24 in a day, and everyone, this is what I say about the internet and social media today, everybody has a voice, and it cues nothing but faux outrage, and it's thrown at people when things like this wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. They may have gotten a slap on the hand from the program director, but today everyone's a program director.
Not 95% of all outrage in America and the Western world is fake.
I don't understand how you can do a talk show without when you're talking 3-4 hours a day.
Thank you, Jeff. That's exactly what I was about to say.
How in the world are you supposed to walk on eggshells and do a good show?
So basically, these two are paid to spend 4 hours a day being provocative enough to hold an audience. So it's not enough to just talk for 4 hours a day. You've got to be on, and Dennis Malloy is also a comedian too, if you remember. He has background in comedy. So, and that's an entire other element of the story, how comedy has been killed because of things too. I am not defending the common sense, the lack of common sense in the decision to say that. But I think the fact that in the clip, clearly, because now I heard more of the clip just now than I did before. Hearing the way he came out of it and continued it, it's almost as though after he said it, there was something in him that said, uh-oh, this could be going astray. And he tried to save it, but...
Right, I agree. But think of it this way. If the only thing that is said is Judy singing Turban Man to the Trojan jingle, and Dennis then comes back and says, no, we can't say that. You can't do that. Like, this never would have happened. Like, Judy would not have been, I don't think, reprimanded, or even publicly, lambasted, via Twitter and everything else. But the fact that he continued it, referred to him as Turban Man 2 or 3 other times, and then tried to make the dumbass comparison about the baseball hat man, like that right there, it's over.
You know what I think that is? Do you know what the rule of holes is?
I've heard.
Do you know what the rule of holes is, Joe?
No.
The rule of holes, very simple. When you're in one, stop digging.
Yes.
And that seems to have been a violation of the rule of holes, because I think he realized the situation and thought he could get his way out of it and ended up making it.
I just thought of something dirty.
Now.
Oh.
Not the kind of show.
There it was.
Our first snort of the night. First 6:56.
I mean, quite personally, when I'm in a hole.
First snort of the night. There he is. Okay. Let me ask you this: are you familiar with Dennis and Judy? Aside from this incident, are you familiar with their act?
I mean, vaguely. I don't. Do I listen to them with any regularity? No.
But enough that you know their
shtick. Yeah, I know.
What about you, Jeff?
No, I haven't really listened to it since John and Ken.
You mean that radio station? Oh, you're going way back.
Oh, yeah, 25 years.
I will say this, and it has, with the situation this week notwithstanding, just forget all about this. Dennis and Judy, one of the most underrated, and I'm not to say they're obscure, they're on Jersey 101.5, one of the biggest talk stations in the country, but one of the most underrated duos, and I mean individually and as a duo, in American radio today. And I think it would be a real shame if this is how it ends. Yeah, and it still could end.
It could. But I don't think they will. I mean,
no,
they got a 10-day suspension.
I think that's absurd all by itself.
But
that's 2 weeks, right? That's
that's
2
way
weeks.
too long.
The punishment today, the punishment has to be substantial.
I would also say this.
It doesn't have to be, it just is.
Again,
no, it has to be to tamp down any public beating they're getting on social media.
But a good talk station needs to stand by their air talent.
Well, what happens though when sponsors start pulling? I mean, this is what you're seeing right now.
If they don't suspend them for 10 days, then
all right,
George is exactly right.
I get it. It's a business decision.
These people start going after their advertisers immediately.
But Kyle, here's and this is something that I don't know if this is what Jeff was trying to say, but here's another thing though. If you look at the other side, what you're seeing right now is that side. I'm not trying to get political here, although it's very difficult, especially today. That side, the eternally offended. The millions of people who they wake up and the first thing they do is just look for something to protest and get upset about. This crowd is never satisfied. They never smile. They never laugh. They're never happy. They're never satisfied. You could fire them. You could boycott their sponsors. You could see them get tarred and feathered and run through the streets of Trenton. It still won't be enough. So you come to a point where a station has got to say, we are not going to be programmed by 1% of the audience who is the loudest. And that's what this is. Right. Most people heard that, rolled their eyes or laughed, and moved on with their lives.
To play devil's advocate for one moment, though, I'll say, speaking as someone, so I spent some time in Lower Bucks today. I didn't cross the bridge into Jersey, but that area has changed a lot over the last 5-10 years. I think, actually, I mentioned this to you earlier, Kyle. Yeah. There's a lot more Indians that live there. There are a lot more what am I trying to say? Muslims that live there. The demographics are just like very different than they were just even 10 years ago. Jersey is a completely different place. And it's creeping into Pennsylvania too. But that's got to be taken into consideration too. We're dealing with a whole new demographic.
I mean, I think the attorney general, it's state attorney general, right?
Yes, he's Sikh.
Sikh, yes. His response on Twitter, it's in that article, like he just said, hey, Dennis and Judy, my name is yada, 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 and I had to tell my kids to turn off the radio today.
Oh, their kids were listening to Dennis and Judy.
Of course they're not. But I thought I thought his response was decent. Like he didn't go off the deep end. It's all these, like the people Jeff was talking about. That George was mentioning, the people that wake up looking to be offended, but ultimately, and you're saying that whether it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks, a month, whatever, that they'll come. No, they won't. They won't come back. They'll be suspended for 2 weeks, and they'll have moved on to the new, to tomorrow's story or on what they're offended on. These people do not have long attention spans.
Oh, no. No. Yeah, in a way they can. They don't have long attention spans, but these are all orchestrated protests. These are not grassroots protests. These are all organized. There's a reason why they show up all at the same time at every airport within an hour of each other with pre-printed signs and things. These are all orchestrated. So they scan the dials. They look for these things. These groups like Media Matters, they roll tape on every single talk show in America. They pay people to just sit in a room and record everything so that when something comes up, that bam, they have an archive.
What are they hoping to accomplish? I just don't understand.
You're seeing it right now.
But how does that serve to benefit them?
There's big money in it. There's huge money in it.
Well, how? Explain the money.
Well, look, I'm not. I don't know what direction you want to take the show. It's not a direction I want to go in, although I guess we don't really have a choice.
All right, back to Paul Walker.
People who feel
Paul
the way I do about
Walker.
These things believe that these things are orchestrated, and yes, there's large money behind it. So I guess if you want to talk about that, you can. 610-901-0500. But I guess what I was trying to say back to Dennis and Judy themselves, if you compare this with Don Imus from 2007 and the Rutgers basketball
mishap,
situation there, Imus, who happened to retire, quit, leave, whatever, this year. So I guess that should have been on the list, but it seems like ancient history now.
It was such a non-event.
It was such a non-event. It's true. Exactly. That is the absolute right way of couching it. It was such a non-event for someone whose retirement should have had such fanfare, just went out with a whimper, and yet if you heard the clip of his behavior in those final days, even people like me who didn't really have an opinion on the guy, never a fan, never hated him, just really didn't care. You hear that and you just think like, just get the hell out of here. Just go
What
off.
did he do? I don't know if you set that up or not.
Did you hear how Imus ended his show?
I didn't know people listen to Imus.
Yeah, no, I don't even know how to describe it. It's all over YouTube. You can listen to it sometime. It was pretty sad, in my opinion.
You're leaving us hanging here, George. Give us the synopsis.
He was a complete jerk. Just a complete to everybody. I don't even know what his point was. I mean, the man's losing it. The man's just completely losing it. And then he just got up and walked off. And the final couple of weeks, he was constantly berating his own staff and producers and people on the show. And at one point, he walked off the show and then came back the next day. And, really.
But the Imus thing was, you could almost, when the whole original Rutgers basketball team comment happened, that you might even be able to put a marker on that as kind of like the first, where this began.
But it's also, it was, and we were at the peak of Racket at this point when that happened. When that happened, you know it and I know it. Everyone knew it. 99.9% of the people who were outraged over that never heard it, and most of them had never even heard of him. Never even heard of him. The fact that Jim Gardner, Channel 6 Action News, leading with Imus, leading in Philadelphia.
That led?
Leading for 3 days.
I don't even know what station he's on in Philly.
Local news led with the Imus situation. And I said, he's not even carried in Philadelphia. Nobody here even heard it.
That's what I
and
thought.
When he was carried in Philadelphia on 1210, nobody was listening to it.
Right.
Which is why he was replaced for Smirkanish.
But that's local news today. It's not about news. It's
Of
about...
course not. Of course not.
Pushing an agenda.
And this was 10 years ago.
Right. And it's just gotten progressively worse.
It is so big. Interesting choice of words.
But Mr. Brewster, I didn't say colored on the air.
Let's go back to the phones in Philadelphia, 610-901-0500. And in
this
Philadelphia,
next caller's on my shit list.
601-901. Or I'm 6.
Is it me?
901.
I don't think so.
0500.
Oh.
Back to the telephones. Let's say hello to whomever this is now on the radio.
Hello, bitches.
Hey,
Who's this?
what's going on?
Who is this?
Hey.
Mark Bramhall.
Mark Bramhall.
That is the worst
not.
Mark Bramhall impression I've ever heard in my entire life.
Bramhall.
You just said it was Bramhall. Who is it?
It's Farkas.
Oh, Mike Farkas. Mike from South Philly, not in South Philly.
How's your mom doing?
She's doing good.
Is she?
She's doing good.
Is she dating?
What? What is this?
Jeff.
Right?
Oh, I forgot. Wait.
It's out of line.
Wait a minute. Did you and his mom? Wait. What am I missing here? I mean, not recently. I'm sure it was a long time ago, but.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. No, really?
I mean, Mike was younger, but yeah.
Wait a minute. No, you guys you're putting me on. Mike, is this true? How long have you been sitting on
That
this information?
was a joke.
What's going on, Mike?
I think he hung up on
It's
us.
like, what the hell did I call in for?
I've been listening for 20 years for this.
Meow.
Meow. What's going on, Mike? How are you? You're in New Orleans now, right?
Yes, sir.
And you like it down there?
You guys were having there. Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, you sound muffly.
We sound like a muffler.
No, I said you guys sound muffly because you dropped stuff on the board.
Well, yes, that is true. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, I spilled some coffee into the old Ward Beck. But we're still on the air.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling and call us again. No, Mike, so how have you been? What's up?
The whole thing about the news becoming this whole entertainment reporting, the news just isn't the news anymore, like Kyle said. It's all about entertainment reporting now. They don't care about real news.
I don't even think it's about entertainment reporting anymore. I think it's all about an agenda. But see, again, now I'm doing what I said I wasn't going to do on this show, so I'll just shut up now.
And if they can't further an agenda, it's either sports or weather.
Hold on, guys. Stand by.
No,
No, you can keep talking, Mike. Go ahead. Mike, go ahead. We're listening. Go ahead.
Hello?
I think you cut me off, bitches.
I didn't cut him off. He's right there. I can hear him breathing. Oh. He hung up on us.
Something happened.
Mike, call back, Mike. And do it quickly before someone beats you to it.
And I need updated pictures of your mom on Facebook.
Because if somebody else calls in, then that can... If he calls in first, then it's just a resumption of the phone call. But if somebody else beats him to it, then he's had his one call per show.
Correct.
Sorry, Marvin, it's only one call per show.
It was
Marvin Barish. Marvin Barish.
At the newsstand, 8th and Market.
That was...
I danced with Mary Elizabeth Tibiano on the RJC and Steelers.
That was, God bless Marvin Barish. He's no longer with us.
Yes.
And that was...
This is Marvin Barish.
That was just...
Marvin Barish.
Good radio there.
RJ.
Hello.
Okay, wait, seriously, though, have we lost the phones? 610-901-0500.
It's possible because we did just have a phone call come in, and because phone calls come up on my phone.
There's something wrong with
this picture.
I don't think Mike hung up on us. I think there's a problem.
I thought Dino was going to be here tonight.
Why would you think that?
Why?
Somebody mentioned that.
He hasn't been here for fucking 9 months.
Tell the language. Dino is very busy. He's working at Hollywood Tavern, I think, tonight.
Is that the nudie bar?
No, there's no nudie bars. Okay, we need to figure out these phones. Should I try dialing it and see?
You could try.
What happens?
Ringing.
Nope, the lines are blinking. Let's see if this is Mike from South Philly. We go back to... Let's go to South Philadelphia now, 10th and Shunk, and see if this is Mike. Is this Mr. Farkas?
Nope.
Hello?
Mr. Farkas, hello.
No, it's
Jim
not.
and Cheltenham.
Oh, Jim and Cheltenham. How am I supposed to know who it is? I don't have a call screener here. Oh, you have a...
It pops up on my
Oh,
screen.
Kyle has call screening. Did you
You
know?
do? Oh, I didn't know that. I just recognized the voice.
The show's only half over, and now I find out that there is call screening 2 feet away from me. I had no idea. Jim in Cheltenham. Well, how are you, Jim?
I hear you a little scratchy, but I can hear you.
Yeah, well, that's because I spilled a coffee into the board a couple of hours ago.
Great work by him, but
was only I did sop up as much of it as I can, but there's the occasional short every now and then. So, how's retired life treating you, Jim?
Oh, okay, good guys. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
You're wonderful.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Okay. Well, no, I'm doing very good in retirement. Just call up to talk to you guys today.
Cool. What Tony Bruno have for lunch today?
Oh, stop it! I do miss listening to Tony though on the radio.
Tony right now, I may not heard this. He has just some surgery done for skin cancer.
Oh no, I had not heard that. It's been I've been kind of out of the loop.
Well, they caught it early, and he's doing fine right now.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, hopefully everything will be okay with him.
Yeah, but the thing I talked to you about, I couldn't believe that the Beasleys rebought WXTU.
Yeah, and that I think that deal caught everyone a bit by surprise. I think the B101 part was not much of a surprise, but the way that whole deal was engineered, I think, kind of was. And the fact that it looked like what it came down to was they needed to, Entercom needed to generate as much cash with one of its sales as possible so that the net difference in cash wasn't as much. So I guess the station that would bring in the most cash that they thought could be expendable was XTU.
I kind of get the impression that George and Bruce and Carolyn have a soft spot for that radio station. I mean, they owned it for years. They owned it for like over 30 years.
Yeah, it was one of their first properties, right? Was it their first actual owned property, or was there one?
I don't know if it was their first.
It was one of the
no. Their first properties were in
Florida,
North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's right. But it was, I mean, it was definitely one of their first big ones.
And it still bills. It still makes money. So there's no reason not to own it.
Well, yeah, other than that, they paid, what was it, 34 million? I forget what the amount was. Whatever the amount was, it was less than Beasley paid for JBR in Wilmington 10 years ago. But I guess 10 years ago may as well have been 100 years ago. You know what else is weird, though, Jim, if you think about it? Because I know you love the sports radio format. 610 is now in the Beasley fold as a sports station, and now 610 is a sister station to 97.5.
They owned the station before they bought 97.5.
Right.
And they just sold. And then now they're calling it ESPN owns part of it now. It's called ESPN 610.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I never thought the day would come. If you could go back, 8-10 years when WIP was a giant on AM on 610 in sports radio anyway. To think that 10 years later it will be ESPN is just mind blowing.
And they broke a station, and then they made a big deal with the Reading Phillies. Now they're doing all the Reading Phillies games. Basically, anybody wants to buy time on the station, they'll give it to them.
I know, it's so crazy.
Who the hell's listening to the Reading Phillies?
610 is now the flagship station for the Reading Phillies.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's funny. Matter of fact, they just it's basically and you were talking earlier about I think on the weekends they have all the people. They have all the people on 97.5 who are producers. They give them talk shows on the weekends.
On 610?
That's always, like you said, that they need a farm system. Well, 610 is their farm system for 97.5.
Well, that's not a bad use for it. That's actually, I like that.
I mean, I when I worked at WIP, when I worked at DB as well, DB kind of did have that minor league with the AM, but
that was only for a very short time.
It was very short, but I always, I wished Tom Bigby would have put us, had an outlet, although he never would have done that because he thought that he could hire monkeys to do our jobs. But, I
think he actually used that word.
He did. No, he did. Kyle, if I could hire monkeys to do what you do, I would.
And I still might. 610.
What a leader and motivator that man sounds.
Very much so.
Well, I'll tell you, he's a hell of a programmer, though. There's no question about that.
Absolutely.
But if you could go back, Kyle, say 20 years, and you are a phone screener, we're having that problem again with. Hold on, Jim. Sorry,
it sounds like Jim breathing into the phone. I don't think that's the board.
No, I think it's this Behringer piece, isn't it? Wait, let's see about this. Oh, you're right.
It is
Jim. Okay. But if you could go back 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And just put yourself in that position. You're a phone op at WIP.
Right.
I'm sorry. Put yourself in a position that you are a phone op at 97.5. Mm-hmm. And the boss says, we've got the AM. Would you like to do a couple of hours this Saturday afternoon?
Absolutely, I would.
Well, you would have jumped at it. Right now, we're not going to pay you, but we just want to see what you can do. Yeah, so I think that's actually encouraging to hear that something's being done with that radio station.
Well, the guy that runs it now is Mr. Williams, and Mr. Williams, I think he used to run 101 in New Jersey.
No, it's Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Johnson, who was at the original WIP Sports Radio with Bigby, right?
He was the assistant.
Right.
He was the assistant. I think the big version.
Yeah.
I don't know how I remember this. I think wasn't Bigby's first, maybe second assistant was Greg Tantum, who had been the head PD at Jeff. Oh, he's not listening to the show.
Yeah, I don't listen to the
show. He was the last PD of WCAU. Tony Bruno was his morning man in 1989-90.
Oh, yeah, when I won those thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So, and then after WCAU was blown up, Greg went over to work for, I guess, Bigby at WIP. He moved on to wherever. Eric left KISS 100, Y100. Right, Eric was the first PD of Y100, and then he went over to WIP.
Right.
Now he's at Jersey. No, then he went to Jersey 1015.
He was at Jersey 1015 for 17 years.
Then, now he's with the Beasleys. Who took Eric's job at Jersey 1015?
I just read that, and I don't remember.
Ann Gress from OGL.
Oh, okay.
Is now
right.
So it's like, it is kind of a revolving door if you think about it, right? It's the same. It's not the same names.
Hey, speaking of 1015 program directors, what's Jay Sorensen up to these days?
Is he still on CBS FM?
Yeah, he still does some stuff. I'm connected with him on Facebook. He's still doing some stuff up there here and there, I think. Yeah, I see his posts.
That is one thing I miss about Facebook. There aren't many, but that is one thing I miss about Facebook is seeing some of the people I liked in radio from time to time.
And see what they're up to.
Yeah, just to see what they're up to. But I know enough of you people who are on Facebook. I can just ask you guys. What are you listening to these days, Jim? Do you listen to any radio anymore, or like Kyle, have you just had it?
I'm just retired now. I'm retired right now, enjoying myself. I do run the Tony Bruno Audio Library I run all this stuff, and we just found some clip, his last show on WFIL radio we just found.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really?
So we run all the tapes, and hopefully we're going to put them on a CD down the line.
Well, that's cool. I heard someone on YouTube, I found there was a YouTube posting of I guess it was the Cannon and Company show. Was it Don Cannon and Tony Bruno on 104 on WSNI?
Yeah.
I'd forgotten all about that. He was on Tony's been on almost.
I'm sorry to hear that they're going to knock down the Channel 10 building.
Well, not if Ron Joseph has his way. It'll stay. I'll admit that is a tall order. I mean that's. I think boy, could you imagine the money line on that thing, man? If you took RJ and the money line on the and Brian Roberts just woke up and had an epiphany one morning and said, "We're going to make it the." Could you imagine that? Boy, you'd be worth as much as Comcast.
You'd be a wealthy man.
Yeah. That is a shame, though. A lot of history in that building.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, I used to remember all the time because not just TV, but all WCEU, AM and FM were there, and they're the heyday of WCEU, the 50,000 watt station there, like 35 stations at night.
Oh yeah, that was CBS Radio in Philadelphia, WCAU 121. Remember 121 Radio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys. I really enjoyed hearing you again. And
Thank you, Jim.
We can do this again next year.
Oh well, we'll try. I think hopefully we'll be back to our usual nighttime time slot. But I'm glad you made you followed us to the daytime. We've never done one of these in the daytime.
Most loyal
Are you
listeners.
going to bring back Talk 500 again, or what?
Well, you know, we had Talk 500 up for a few days because we were testing for this. The plan is yes to bring it back and eventually to do some new shows again. Is the ultimate plan. Now, and that plan, you know, as long as we don't spill Cokes and coffees into the board, that should help. Should eventually happen. How did you find out about us, Jim? Was it the Facebook?
Facebook, yes.
Yeah. See, as much as I poo-poo that Facebook, it puts buttocks in the seats. I will.
Well, Facebook's doing better now because they do a lot of people do shows on Facebook right now.
Yeah. Now, have you seen any of the videos that we did on the Facebook?
What'd you say?
Have you seen any of the videos, the experimental videos that Kyle and I did on the Facebook page?
Well, some of the shows you did, like some of the shows, I think you did 4 or 5 shows on Facebook. Like
yeah, they're not very good, but
15-minute piece.
Yeah, that's about as much as I think we're worth. Well, Jim, I appreciate it. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Take care. Stay healthy, guys.
You too, Jim.
You as well, Jim. Thank you.
Great talking to you.
Always nice to hear from you, Jim. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
There he is, Jim in Cheltenham on the Big Time Audio Broadcast Talk 500. One of our great listeners. One of the things that we've been so blessed over these years, I sound like RJ now. We've been so lucky to have had just some great listeners. And you know, when you're doing one of these shows on the internet, you know, it's not quite the same. You know, the metrics, the barometer, what am I trying to say? It's not the same. You know, you're thinking, you think of Arbitron, or I guess now Nielsen numbers for radio stations, and, you know, even a small station that will be cuming a 250,000 people, and then you hear the minuscule numbers that are internet-only stations, and it just seems like, wow, why do you even bother doing this? And I say that's one of the reasons we do this. And so one of the reasons I was so upset a couple of hours ago, because I really like to give 100% to these shows, whether there are 2,000 people or 20 people listening. I think those people deserve a good show. I have actually, Kyle, did you know this?
What's that?
I have changed just a little bit. Now, you know what I always say, people don't change for the most part. That's on the whole. On the aggregate, people generally don't change.
Right.
That's not to say they can't change, and it's not to say that they don't make changes from time to time.
What have you changed, George?
So I think I have finally become...
He did stop smoking.
A little. Well, that was kind of. There was pretty much almost a gun to my head for that one. But
whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. The thing though that I think I'm coming around on now that I'm middle-aged man, radio broadcasting is largely in my rear view mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm coming around more on the whole radio is a one-to-one medium sort of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? You know how before I've often said there are certain types of shows, there are certain types of formats where I absolutely agree with that thinking, that radio is a one-to-one medium. But
where you're sharing that moment in time.
But there are others that I believe in that shared experience. So I have no problem with a disc jockey on certain formats, say if it's 1965, and you're the legendary and now unfortunately late Dan Ingram on 77 WABC, and you're saying, hello there, Kimo. Actually, he wasn't much of a everybody kind of a guy. I don't think he said that too much. He actually was. Okay, look, a bad example. Let me start this again. If you are Jim Nettleton, no, he didn't do it either. Okay, if you are
RJ.
Yes, I think RJ does do it, come to think of it. All the beautiful people.
That's right, you asshole.
I think, actually, that is a good example. I think High Ski did the same thing, too. There's no problem when you're on, say, a Wibbage, and it's 1964, and it's, say, 8:30 p.m. at night on a school night, and every school kid in the Delaware Valley is listening to, Radio 99. There's nothing wrong with saying, howdy, everybody. But you've got a lot of program directors will yank you into the office. I mean, they will grab you by the wrist, handcuff you, and lead you. Maybe they'll put a shock collar on you, and they'll drag you away like a dog to the corner office there, and sit you down, and they'll say, now you listen to me, and you listen good. Don't you ever, ever, ever utter the word everybody on those airwaves again. Do you understand, boy? Don't you ever say the word ever. What did I do? Say, we don't use the word everybody because radio is a one-to-one medium.
Here's that Southern consultant again.
There is no everybody. There is only one person. I don't care. I don't give a damn that you have 14 million people in your cume. You have only one listener, son. One listener. And that is who you're talking to. See, that was the mentality. And
right.
As long as you follow that, you'll never go wrong. So I think I've come around a little bit on that, and I need to treat this show that we do
well, truly,
once a year.
We may just be speaking to one person, interestingly enough.
Oh, boy. Well, let's speak to one person right now at 610-901-0500. Hello.
Yes, sir. Baby.
Hi. Who is this?
Hi.
Who is this?
Houston.
Who is this?
I think it's Tim.
Hello?
Well,
Yes.
you have the caller.
It didn't come up on the screen.
Who do we have here?
Welcome aboard, Tim from Chicago. Thank you.
Is it really Tim?
It's Tim.
Tim, it is Tim. It is the man of the hour.
Ban.
Actually, the man of the many hours.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the man of the last few weeks who set
Made
up
it all
one
possible.
of these channels and the phones. So thank you, Tim.
It's a pleasure. Always happy to help wherever I can, and I'm glad I can do something useful.
Well, you've always been useful to us, although it's changed over the years. I mean, in the beginning there was some comedy involved and
Some animosity.
Well, no, not from us.
Not from- right.
No, we've always loved him. I don't know if it makes you feel better, and I apologize if this was asked of you last year. It's possible. I don't remember things like I used to, but my kids, not so much anymore, because kids have short attention spans. But a few months ago, all the rage for about a week in my house was ban. So I hope you can get some joy.
You live in infamy, Tim.
In knowing, not infamy, more of an homage. I hope that you can get some joy. On a cold, dark night, you'll think of that information and feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Absolutely. I'm glad that 13-year-old Tim could provide some joy to some kids.
It was a beautiful.
They definitely did, Tim, because George, like, you may have even called me and told me that, like, he was so excited about it.
Yeah, about band. So you are not near Chicago anymore. I presume you still have connections, of course, to Chicagoland, right?
Absolutely. My family's all still up there. It's obviously just me down here in Houston, actually about an hour or so north of Houston. But, yeah, I've been away from Chicago almost 3 years now.
Now, how often do you get back to the Windy City there?
I usually go up once a year, sometimes twice a year, depending on what's going on. I haven't gone up this year yet, though, because things have been so busy with work.
I saw Chicago from my airplane today.
There you go. That's about as much
man.
Chicago as you need to see.
But then I kept flying.
I saw Chicago at the Valley Forge Music Fair.
I still have the ticket stub to prove it.
Now, because you were always very in tune with, in tune, get it? You were always very in tune with Chicago radio when you were living there, when you were younger. Do you still feel that connection to radio now in Houston, or when you go back to Chicago once a year?
Not really. Radio in Houston is pretty much as homogenous as it gets. We've got the usual mix of Clear Channel and Cumulus, and I really don't have a reason to be connected to stations that really have no connection to the area.
Now, you know what's so interesting, though, to hear about Tim? Because Tim he's right in the heart of the money demo now, right? I mean, he's right there. I mean, he is in the demo that the radio companies want listening. iHeartRadio wants Tim, right?
Yeah.
And he's...
I suppose so.
And he's not interested.
Well, it also doesn't help that my ability to pick up Houston radio is pretty difficult at times.
Because of all the computers.
What's that?
I'm sorry, Tim. We're having a bad gating situation for some reason here on the call. I thought because you are in IT and you are surrounded by so many microprocessors that you have trouble getting reception.
It's not that. It's just the fact that I live on the fringe of the market.
Yeah, I mean, he's an hour north.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't realize that.
He said that earlier.
Oh,
You don't listen
I don't
to the
listen
show.
to the show. I don't listen to the call.
No.
So he's Tim near Houston now is what it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. There's maybe 2 or 3 stations I can pick up on a good day, one of which is actually really worth listening to. It's a mom-and-pop operation. But other than that, it's all homogeneous garbage from Clear Channel and Cumulus.
What is the mom and pop station? Tell me about it.
What's that?
This mom and pop station. Tell me a little bit about it.
It's KVST in Huntsville, Texas. They're a country music station. That they provide a mix of local music, independent artists, modern pop country, and classics. So they super serve the market because they serve this little 50 square mile radius, and they're doing remotes every day, and it's radio the way that it should still be.
A lot of interaction.
What's that?
A lot of interaction, a lot of one-on-one, kind of like what I was just talking about a few minutes ago.
Yeah. So, and they actually get out and they talk in public, and they don't do any of this Facebook Live gimmick crap.
Oh, like we did.
Yeah.
But
they're
really
aren't hearing us.
Can you hear us, Tim?
You're overmodulated.
That's what I told you last night.
We tested this last night. Everything was fine. No? I don't know.
Well, what do you guys expect from us? Seriously.
How about now, Tim? Are we any better now? Are we still over?
No, you're just as bad.
I mean, what do you guys
I'm going to try one more thing here.
Seriously.
How about now? No.
It's better.
Oh, boy. Well, and we still have 90 more minutes to go.
Excellent.
I'm really looking forward to dinner.
Well, Tim, you really came through for us. I mean, boy, this does sound bad now. I'm getting a really bad. Hold on, I want to try something here.
Maybe if you try and pour more coffee on the board, that'll correct the earlier problem.
No, we're having the mix minus problem again because when I bring up phone is when I'm getting. It's just.
You're muffled now.
Yeah, I'm getting this mix minus.
It's a mix minus problem. Maybe we need to get the mix master on the phone.
Well, no, but the thing is, why was it sounding fine an hour ago? And now
fiddled with one of those knobs.
No, I never. No. Well, Tim,
Everybody sounds good except for George right now.
Well, there's probably a reason for that. Boy, I do.
That's very helpful, I'm sure.
Yes. No, it is because I can look and see. No, everything is set the same way it was before. I don't know. But Tim, you've been very helpful, and I guess we'll be in contact after the show because we're going to be trying some new things, and who knows, maybe even doing some other exciting things as well. And you're really helpful with the phones as well, so we do appreciate it as always.
Absolutely. I'm happy to help with the excitement. Hopefully, we can get Bramall to call in and tell us about 990.
WXCT.
Oh boy.
WNTY. Hey.
Hey, it's WNTY. Get it right.
Sorry.
Call letters.
Tim, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yep. God bless you. I'll take care.
Talk to you. Tim, thank you. Tim near Chicago. Not anymore.
Sounds like he found Jesus.
Now he is near Houston.
He is near Houston.
Houston, Texas.
Hello.
Tim, north of Houston.
All right, so that frees up a line at 610-901-0500 in Philadelphia, 610-901-0500. And we'll see what, I turned the phone off and now we sound good again. So we're having the mix minus again, and I don't understand why.
Do we have to adjust that knob in the back of the Gentner?
Do you remember which one it was? I'm reluctant to start touching things.
There's a button that says mix minus on the back of the Gentner.
Oh, no, because we didn't touch that in the first place, so why would that have changed? That was something.
Should we?
I'm reluctant to do that in the middle of the show, though, because I don't know what those settings do. I mean, I know what they do, but I don't know.
I would do it. We've thoroughly embarrassed ourselves.
I don't know how to work the equipment. I don't know. When I'm touching something, I don't quite know what I'm doing back there, like in the back, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Unless, Jeff, if you think you know what you're doing, or Kyle, I guess.
And
I'm just the Airtown. I'm after. Sorry, guy.
Are you still?
There's a knob in the back of that Gentner that says mix minus.
Well,
isn't there?
No, the Gentner up here. Is that? Oh, what you're talking about on the switcher or the Gentner?
On the switcher, isn't there?
There's no knob here.
No, I didn't think there was.
There's a hold level.
That's all
different. You need a screwdriver for that.
Yeah, that's all the way up already. That wouldn't have anything to do with this.
I don't see anything back here.
I must say, Kyle, the new microphones you got last year sound very good.
Yeah.
They're very good.
They do.
I used to think that RE... Is this the new one that I have right here? Is this the new one?
I think Jeff has the brand new one.
Because originally there was the RE20 here.
Right.
But now they all match. Before, as much as I love RE20, they didn't match. So I had to reprocess them to try to make them match. It just occurred to me, I am so thirsty.
I'm so hungry.
I brought over all of this water.
Would you like one?
Could you please do me a solid and bring a bottle of water? Do you drink water? Do you want one?
No, I'm good.
I only have 4. Jeff, do you want one of them?
I'll take one, thank you.
Okay, so one for me and one for my friend Jeff here.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. All right, Philadelphia 610-901-0500 and Philadelphia 610-901-0500. Those are the phone numbers if you want to be a part of this. It's Radio Racket 2018 with George and Jeff Roscoe and Kyle and you on the telephones. We had RJ already there, and you could be next. We had Jim and Chuck. See, I shouldn't do this. I start down this road of listing all the callers, and then I forget somebody, and then I sound like a real jackass. So we don't want that. Hit counter, very healthy, particularly considering the early time slot. And I can only imagine how many people might still be tuning in tonight at 9 expecting a live show. And my apologies for that.
Before we go to the next call, I did find some interesting audio that I think you may want to hear. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't, but go ahead.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it then.
Lots of curse words?
Perhaps.
Oh, boy.
KQX makes 107.3 out of DC.
Tori Wilson can rattle off radio stations from just about any Connecticut from memory.
WTIC News Talk 1080 Hartford.
Radio is his passion, and he's been dreaming of being a DJ since he was 5.
I've got my first radio, and ever since
I got 50 more.
It's very muffled.
Well, Tori's very muffled.
Blind since birth, he was diagnosed at an early age.
Okay, so this was the Good Morning Carolina show that he was on. Tori.
I'm desperately trying to find the Raleigh clip.
So, okay, we've alluded to this. So, what we should at least, since we're not going to have the clip, and that's just.
I'm still working on it.
Well, no, but you know what though? Here's the thing. What am I hearing here? What is going on?
It's not going out. Whatever it is.
What am I hearing?
That's nothing I did.
No, it's on my end, but I don't know how. I remember this though. Remember?
Yeah, he says pie choice, and it bothered you.
Yes. Wow. You do. I had forgotten all about that. This is from a radio commercial for NoCal, artificial sweetener that was known to do awful things to laboratory rats. And so, okay, so here's the deal. Our friend, our caller from the old show was Tori. In Carolina, South Carolina. Was it South or North?
South Carolina.
And
because we asked him if he knew Paul Walker,
and
he said no.
There are not many clips of this show on YouTube, but one of the few that is.
My balls are big.
On the YouTube was, well, Tori suffers from Asperger's syndrome.
That's why we called him Tori with Asperger's.
And it wasn't like we were being mean. I mean,
No, we kind of were.
No, we weren't mean. Yeah, we wouldn't do that to somebody.
No, we would.
So
that's why our show was so good.
I did say we were at our best when we were cutting people.
Yes.
But he, at one point, for whatever reason, in the middle of the call, made a comment like that about his regions,
testicles,
and then realized what he had done. Now that you can easily find. That's on the YouTube. That's on my personal channel. And then Kyle says, "Thank you, Kyle." Kyle says, "Go juggle them." And then he says, "Oh God," and hangs up.
Don't do that when I'm drinking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Sorry.
God.
And then he calls back later and apologizes for, as he puts it, talking about his privates. But so here he is all these years later, and he calls up Raleigh James. Now, Kyle was on Raleigh James last night.
I was.
So, but
I can't find it. It's so frustrating.
A few months ago. Now, Kyle, you've never heard this, though, right?
Oh, I wish I could find this.
I have not.
It is
but
wonderful.
You've heard all about it, though, right?
Yes.
So
I can hear it in my head.
Tori, and that's good enough. That's fine. Tori calls Raleigh, very excited. I'm here to promote the show. Jeff does the impersonation better than I do. And he says, I'm here.
I'm being trained.
I've got a new internet radio station. I've been working really hard. I've been trained, and it sounds really good. And I wanted to promote it and tell all of your listeners. So Raleigh says, "Well, okay, sounds good to me."
Way more articulate than what he actually said.
I'm trying to clean it up a bit. So Raleigh says, "All right, we'll tell everyone what's the website where we can hear your new station." And then Tori says, "Well, I don't really have a website yet, and the URL's really long, and it's really hard to remember, and you might want to write this down. That's the only way you can listen." And Raleigh says, "Whoa, okay. First of all, there's your first problem right there. This isn't going to work." "What do you mean? But I've been trained." "Well, I understand that, but this isn't going to work. How are you going to promote the station if they can't hear you?" "Well, they can hear me. If you got a pen, you can write down this long URL, and then you put it in, and then we're going to do..." Okay, Tori, this isn't going to work. "But Raleigh, I've been trained. I was trained by a blind man, and he trained me. I've been trained." And then, so this goes on for what, 10 minutes? Something like that?
Yeah.
Good 10 minutes. And you can tell it's a very frustrating call to listen to. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I thought it was hilarious.
Well, see, I actually was a bit... It's an uncomfortable call. That's why I wouldn't want to play it, because it's uncomfortable.
That's exactly why I want to play it.
Well, quite frankly, I I care enough about Raleigh that I wouldn't want to play it because it's uncomfortable to listen to. And finally...
Raleigh's a big girl. She's the one who made those comments to him.
She did keep him on for a good 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and he keeps saying, but I play Dave Matthews Band, and I play 90s. He said, well, I don't care what you play. Nobody can hear you. But I've been trained. So finally, Raleigh says, okay, you keep saying, I don't know what that means. I've been trained. I was trained. My blind trainer said that I'm going to have millions of listeners. I'm a big star, and everyone's listening, and this and that. And I'm not paying the music rights, but I don't know how to do it. But I don't get, what I don't. So this goes on for a little while. And then finally, Raleigh says, what does she say to him? She says, look.
I feel like I'm going to say something that's not kind. Or no,
I'm trying
not to say something that is not kind, and I think I'm about to fail.
But she says, you are in way over your head. And I believe her exact words were, Tori, you need help.
She did say that. I do remember that.
And he says, but I've been trained. So then so she's frustrated, then he gets frustrated, and he starts just... You know how when you try to kill a bug, but it's not completely dead? So you flick the bug in the toilet, and you think it's dead, but then you see it fluttering around the bowl. So then you flush, and in those few seconds, it's circling the bowl, and it's still fighting. That's kind of how this call went. And he starts fighting back. I don't understand. Well, who are you? Who's your manager? What is this? I was trained. I don't need help. I know. It was good stuff.
It was a hoot.
And then the next caller says, wow, you were hard on that guy.
He did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, Kyle, you called up Raleigh last night.
She said something to the effect of, I have a very low tolerance for stupidity.
Yeah.
I did call Raleigh last night.
Yeah, and I heard the whole thing.
I heard most of it.
It's good promotion for the show.
And I'll tell you, I'm probably, if any of her people are listening, I'm going to make them upset.
Or if Raleigh's listening.
No.
Don't make them upset.
Why? When I called, and John answers, and I told him who I was. I said,
bumped right to the top?
I said, I worked with Raleigh at WWDB. I was the next call on.
Yeah, you got on right away. When I call in, I'm sitting on hold for an hour. You got on right away.
I get the red carpet treatment,
you got the Main Line Express.
I'm going to drop your name next time I call.
Right?
Yes. You can't talk to me that way. I know Kyle.
I've been trained.
To me, that is the line of the year.
I so badly want to find that. I've been searching for the last 20 minutes trying to find
Now, do we know that Tori... Now, but here's the funniest part.
Tori's going to try to call tonight.
The funniest part about this whole story, and I know we need to do a better job. I need to do a better job moving through the phones. But I'm starting to lose my voice, so the likelihood of us going past, extra hour, no, it's not likely. But the funniest thing about that whole Raleigh call of Tori's was, here you had this disastrous 15 minutes of radio.
Right.
Where the end result is his feelings are hurt, he's offended, he's mad, he's been trained, all this stuff goes on. And you think that's the end of the story. But Tori gets the last laugh 2 weeks later when he's on Good Morning Fayetteville or whatever the show was.
Your Carolina.
And there he is on the couch.
He was with his trainer,
with the Infobabe and the trainer there. He says, "I've launched Tour 94," and but the thing is, he takes Raleigh's advice.
He did.
Raleigh said, "You need to get a domain name that's short and easy to remember." So he
did a good job.
So he shows up with a 5-digit domain name. That's better than what we have.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Son of a bee, and he gets on there, and so I don't know whether that was Raleigh or the trainer.
I want him to be an inspiration to people, and so that they see that
this is his mom
because you have a
talking.
Disability, it doesn't mean that you can't do anything. You can do whatever you want.
He plans to expand his live broadcast to weekdays later this month.
Now I would love to be on a radio app so people can find me easier.
All right, so this time next year he'll be on iHeartRadio. So there you go. It is tour94.com. What?
Oh, here you go. He's talking up a song.
Carolina.
Oh, you just missed it.
Now, did he do it better than Rocking Rob?
Oh,
wouldn't that be a competition? It's the Rocking Rob versus the Aspirin. Okay.
The little reporterette in the piece is smoking hot. Have you seen her?
No, but it's well. I saw the original piece, but I don't remember. I didn't sit and watch the entire thing. I just saw that it had happened.
Yeah, I'd
I
take
knew
her
he
down
was trained.
into.
All right, let's go to the phones. Phone numbers: Philadelphia 610-901-0500, and in Philadelphia 610-901-0500. Let's go to Philadelphia line. You're on. Hello. I need to do a better job with these calls. I need to start. Egg timer. Where's the egg timer around here?
No, earlier in the show,
we need the Tom Bigby clock.
You did do a good job keeping those calls brief. I will give you credit.
Well, but I need to do a better job. All right, let's see about this. Hello, you're on. Hello.
Is this a joker?
Are you there? Hello, are you there?
No, they are not.
Negative. All right.
They're trying to sabotage the Racket Annual.
That frees up a line.
How about it, though? No call waiting tones this year?
Isn't that something?
Isn't it nice?
Isn't that something?
Something improved.
All right, so we're on talk500.net.
Everything else just got shittier, but
we are on WDTT starting at 8 o'clock. So we've got our own little network here going.
We've got the big time audio network.
The network, we've got all these little stations and things like that. And I have plenty of other things to talk about if nobody wants to call in. We could talk about Tour 90. Oh, we just did. We could talk about Bramhall. No, I don't think so.
What do you think of My PHL? Do you love that new network?
Dennis Marcucci.
Yes.
This guy. Next topic, please.
No, wait a minute. No.
Marcucci's a moron.
No, wait. Don't say that.
Just wait wait a cotton picking minute.
Dennis was nice enough to reach out to us.
Right.
And he sent Kyle he sent me a message via Kyle because Kyle answers his phone.
Right, as we've already established.
Yes. You totally got the RJ stamp of approval.
There's two things I don't do. I don't give out my number easily, and I never answer the phone. This is why RJ calls you 20 times a day.
Dennis Marcucci had some nice words. Did you know that Dennis is now working full-time in broadcasting? Did you know this?
I did not.
He's got the doo-wop show. I don't have the call letters. So if
an actual radio station?
Oh yeah, no. He has the Dennis doo-wop network.
Is it brokered?
No, I don't think it is. I think he's
Sunday 2 to 4 in the morning.
No. He's actually got this. I mean, it's AM. It's on. I forget
well, there's
the
your problem.
But I wanted to plug the show, and unfortunately, I didn't think to bring the information here. So I'm hoping maybe Dennis will call in if he's listening. It was nice, as always, nice to hear from Dennis here.
Yeah, act like it's a crime.
But the thing is, though, but he doesn't do that. He has an act. He has a character.
Oh.
It's Big D.
Really?
And he uses a different voice. You wouldn't even know it's...
Oh, really?
It's always completely different.
Oh, wow.
But I know his voice, so when I listen, I could hear that it indeed was him.
Sniff it out.
So Rob Federal was trying to get through, and now our...
DM with the BM.
Our app...
Oh, my.
Are our phones not working?
Why do you say that, George?
Because there's no one calling in, and that's not possible.
Let's see.
People in radio say that they change lives. No, we change lives.
No, we change lives.
They just read the line of cards.
Right now,
we change
14
lives.
of them. No,
that first reunion show we did, do you remember, back to back, call after call?
Yeah, I know. And we had 3 lines going that night, too.
I was going through a really rough time in my life, and I listened to your show, and it just lifted me out of the dumps.
And here I am thinking, here we are thinking that we're just, big joke.
We changed lives.
Maybe I would have taken it a bit more seriously if I knew that we were, someone standing on the ledge, and it's a Paul Walker bit saved someone's life
during the original run of the show. I can think of a few instances where I'd call you on a Friday, say, "Are you ready for the show?" Oh, geez, it's Friday.
Phones are working fine. I just called.
But it's not blinking here.
It was blinking. You missed it.
The lines are blinking.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. I saw it.
You ass.
We're just not popular. Well, okay. I need to take a break, though, because I can feel that the voice is going away.
Is Mrs. Wilson cooking grilled cheese sandwiches not helping?
She's making dinner?
You can't smell them?
No, I have a poor sense of smell.
No, the kids had grilled cheese.
No, I smell.
When you leave, we're leaving and we're going to dinner. I'm starving.
Now, here's the question. because we were talking about maybe the what? Oh! Thank you. Should we be like a small market radio station? Stop in the middle of our sentence. And here's the point I'm trying to make.
I have a call. There's a call. There's a call.
Have you ever heard some of these radio stations where these brokered shows and these small market stations where they get one phone call and they start?
Well, and Jeff's not listening anymore, but on Stern now, Sal and Richard have pretty much taken their crank call stuff to internet-only shows. And
they don't do it on the regular show anymore? Or you're saying they expanded?
No. The prank calls they make to online shows.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They don't call on air or terrestrial radio stations.
Got it.
They call internet shows, and they just go and search and find these awful shows. And literally, as George is saying, they'll play like a snippet, and the guy will be saying something. Oh, we have a caller.
Stop it! Hold that thought. We have a call. Hello.
And they like dive at the Gettner to turn on the phone. It's really funny. And then they get pranked by Sal and Richard.
When I was doing a lot of driving through.
I'd like to make a comment on your program.
My name is Ethel.
They're not doing the Tradio anymore. I love the Tradio calls.
They do some Tradio still.
Welcome
not as much.
to a Tuesday.
I love that.
On the Tradio.
My first item, please.
First item, please.
My first item, please. I have an item. It's an item that's been in my family for about 20 years.
It's a big item.
And what is it? It's an item. An item that well, what is it? It's an item. Well, you're not saying what the item is.
What's the second item, please?
Well, second item's also an item, but this one's a slightly older item.
Come on.
Okay, you know what? I don't have time for but he doesn't hang up on he keeps it on.
If I had more time on my hands like I did during the original run of the show, for instance, I had lots of time on my hands. I was crank calling everybody. I crank called Henson at COJ all the time.
Speaking of COJ,
I recently came clean about
they
that.
They get Ron McNeil so bad on some of them with those the Scrabble one. I want to solve the Scrabble puzzle. What were those letters again? All right, I'll give you the letters. There were these are in no order, jumbled order. B C T I E B. No. B C T G B E. No, stop.
It's so great.
701-05 stretch that 901-0500 is the phone number in Philadelphia.
The reason I crank called COJ all the time is they had no delay.
Well, most of these stations don't. Like, what is that station? GNS? Is that the one with Bart, who has WGNS?
Bart? What'd you do with that?
Mustang parts. I got a car. Car won't start. Well, good morning. How are you today? Did you have a nice weekend? Was it good? Oh, good. Okay. Let's start caller number one. Hello? Hey, Bart. I love that theme song. It is a nifty song, isn't it? That is great. That's
amazing stuff.
Great
but
stuff.
Yeah, they're doing nothing but internet shows now, and it's really, really funny.
That might be them on line one.
I also like Jack, the older guy, Jack. You're dumb. You're an imbecile. You're dumb. I got you. I got my friends at the phone company. I'm gonna find you wherever you are, one of you or two of you, whoever number of yous there are. I will get you, and I will get your phone number, and you're gonna have to deal with me. Hello, you're on Tradio, and then the explosion. See, I got your number. You're gonna get you rascal.
You whippersnappers.
Let's see who this is. Good morning, or whatever. Good evening. It's 5 in front of 8 o'clock on Talk 500. Who do we have here the pleasure of speaking with?
What's your item? What do you have to say?
What's your item?
Please.
Hello?
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 I called the radio show.
You have the...
It didn't come up. I don't know who it is.
Who do we have here?
My name is Gene.
Yes, Gene. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Philadelphia.
That's Mike from South Philly.
It doesn't sound like Mike.
No, it's Marcus.
Now, Gene, do you have a
Oh,
mom?
God.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I almost had you there, bitches.
Hey, Mike, remember when we crank called, you had the Baba Booey trading cards?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Mike did some radio prank calls too.
What was the line? I'm sorry, Myron. It's only a one call per show, right? No. So you're down there in New Orleans, Mike. So what's the radio like? See, now I'm talking in that voice. I got to stop that.
Yeah, why are you calling back? What happened? One call per show. What's going on here?
Did you hang up on us, or did we hang up?
Oh, that's
on
right. There was a disconnection. I think.
You guys hung up on me?
Well, there's a reason for that. No. So Mike, you've been listening tonight. Is this one of our better annual shows, or is it mid-range?
Yeah, it's mid-range.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
There's a few more calls.
Yeah, well, you know, it had a kind of a rocky start, and that's my fault. I take full responsibility for that.
Injuries.
But I guess but I think we're getting there now. Now that it's almost time to go, we're getting there.
Yeah, it's nice to hear you guys all again. And Jeff, sorry about your troubles at the airport last night.
No, we got it sorted out, Mike. All's well that ends well.
But he's here. He's here now.
I really, I was going to rent. I was planning to sleep in the airport in Philly once I got into. It sounds terrible.
I don't know why this keeps happening.
I only long story short, I only lost like an hour and a half, so no big deal.
Let me be honest with you guys. See, George, you sound muffly on the phone. Jeff, I can hear you, and Kyle, I can hear you. But Jeff, but George, you sound very, very tinny on the phone.
That's
like the microphone's in your mouth.
Well, it's not, but that's what everyone's saying, because Jim said the same thing. And as you can see, Jeff and Kyle, we have the exact same microphones. They're all going through the same board, and everything's set the same way. So I don't know what to make of this. Now, don't do that.
Sorry.
Something tells me we'll never find out, because Dino thinks I live in California.
Why does he think you live in California? He said that he was going to take a jumbo jet and make it out here.
He always complains. Every time we ask him to come out here, he complains. You live so far away. No, Dino, I really don't. I really don't.
I don't know.
I'm not. Maybe it's a pain in the ass to get here, but have a little pride in yourself.
George,
get out here.
He's shaming you.
I am.
Oh, jeez.
The big news story last week was the More FM purchase. Jerry Lou sold off More FM.
You're just now joining us, Mike.
Yeah, now, what do you think of this, though, Mike? Do you think that, because the conventional wisdom, which is something I always reject, says that, they'd be idiots to change a thing. They're not going to touch this radio station. And I think, that sounds good. And that's the kind of thing that you would think, but that doesn't always necessarily mean it's true. How many times did people say Action News would never change anything because it's number one? And I love I'm sorry, I'm taking over go ahead, make your point first. I'm impeding on your time.
Well, I think what's going to happen is they're not going to touch it. Format-wise, but you're going to see them make cuts eventually. You know how these corporations do. But it's not really More FM that I'm concerned about. It's the whole 96.5 thing, what they do with that.
Well, yeah, I don't see how, and this is, I think, the big question, because 96.5 under CBS was going dead against B1, More FM. I still think of it as B101. That's another thing, too. They've got a branding problem there, because much like Oldies 98, it was so well established, and I think non-radio people would be absolutely amazed to know how many people still think of WOGL as Oldies 98, and likewise, they still think of 101 as B101.
I mean, it hasn't been Oldies 98 in over 10 years.
Oh, yeah, at least.
And I to this day, if anyone refers to that station, they call it Oldies 98.
I mean, sure, they're playing Unbelievable from EMF, but it's still, when you ask a non-radio person, what station is on, they say Oldies 98.
That's a good time and a great oldie.
Good times and great oldies. Oldies 98's Double H, Harvey Holiday, and one of my personal favorites, EMF. Oh! Yeah, it doesn't.
You didn't do it right. Every day is a holiday.
Every day.
Harvey Holiday. Honestly, I'd rather be anywhere but here right now.
But I think when you talk about B101, see, I just did it. When you talk about 101, More FM, everyone is saying that Entercom won't change a thing. because they'd be stupid to mess with a winning formula. Now, do you realize what you're saying here? You're talking about, and this is, I'm not aiming this at you, even though you just said the same thing, but everyone else is saying what you're saying, Mike, so it's not against you. Now think of it, just follow me for a second. Get out your Geiger counter.
And follow along.
Follow along. Everyone on those message boards is saying there will be no changes at, now I almost said Easy 101, at 101 More FM.
Mom?
Oh, come on. Oh, come on, Jeff.
Mom, don't worry, everything's okay.
Hello?
Mom, welcome to WNJC Radio. Mom, you're on there live. How are you?
Who might you be calling on your phone? Mom, come on.
Yeah, Mom, it's okay. This is good radio. Mom, how are you? Hello, Mom.
Huh?
Oh, did your mom hang up?
She's gone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well,
that was Mike from South Philly 20 years ago.
Back when he was a little baby in diapers.
What does she think about Y100?
No.
Y100 we were talking about that night.
Really?
So she's like hip then.
She knows music, huh?
I guess so.
Oh yeah, he just said that she likes Max 95.
Max.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike, that was Jeff doing that. Sorry about that. Okay, so back to the point. The point I am so desperately trying to make here. Everyone is saying that there won't be any changes at 101 under Intercom because the station is so successful, they would be a fool to change it, right?
Right, that is what people are saying.
Yet they forget, this is the very radio station that was doing extraordinarily well, one of the most successful FM radio stations in the country, when Jerry Lee and David Kurtz, I'm not going to say blew it up, but completely rebranded it as Easy 101. And then in 1988, when it was still one of the highest billing, one of the most successful, one of the most listened to FM radio stations in the country, they blew it up. Changed the name to not Easy, but EZ, the letters EZ. And they dumped Patrick O'Neill and brought in Robert Urich, Spencer for Hire, to do the TV commercials. Do you remember those spots, Kyle?
I do.
He was wearing the leather jacket.
Yep.
Robert Urich, honey.
The new Easy 101. We're not playing the Carpenters and Streisand. Now we're playing hip artists like Michael Bolton and Celine Dion and Billy Joel. Easy 101 has changed.
Why should I change my name? He's the one who sucks.
Do you remember they actually had protests outside 10 Presidential? People holding signs. Like on the first episode of WKRP, they were holding signs. Heck no, we won't go. We want Mantovani back. We want the 101 strings. We want Percy Faith, not Billy Joel and Elton John.
Well, there's only so many companies out there selling
Well, that's
Geritol.
evolution.
But you see, and that's the and then Easy 101 is doing so well. 1993. What does he do? No more Easy 101.
93.
B101. So you get where I'm going with this. This is the same exact station that had a history, and every time Jerry Lee made one of these changes, all the radio pundits said, he's an idiot, he's lost his mind, he's crazy, he's lost his mind. And every single time, he ends up getting the last laugh, right?
Not this time.
Well, but that had nothing to do with programming.
Well, I get it, yeah.
So all I'm saying is, for everyone to say Entercom would be dumb to change anything with the radio station, 101.1, that very statement is the antithesis of everything Jerry Lee did with that very radio station. He was never afraid to make giant changes, proactively make changes so that the station would not become stale. But you can't just make changes just for the sake of making the change. He would research everything to death to make sure it was the right change. So, that being said, now, Mike from South Philly, do you think there would be any changes at 101.1?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But it's going to be it'll be interesting to see what Entercom does with the 96.5. There's rumors going around that it might go country up against XTU.
Well, sure, because they have now this Shelley Easton is becoming a very widely respected programmer.
Not by me.
But by everyone but Jeff Ryan, is just she's the rising star.
She's something that rhymes with the word hunt.
Okay. I can't believe you, Jeff.
See you next Tuesday. Blah.
I didn't say the offensive material.
Jeff.
Can I help you?
I'm sorry. She's the rising star at Entercom, and Entercom did not want to let her go. So she's staying with Entercom and not going with XTU because she's overseeing, I think, all the music stations in that cluster now. So I find it hard to believe that the Beasleys would pay $38 million for a radio station without some kind of an assurance that, that they wouldn't be fueling their direct competitor, don't you think?
You would hope.
It'll be interesting to see.
So we're getting a lot of extraneous noise over here, Jeff. Let's kill his microphone.
Good idea.
For good. No. And let's talk about 96.5. What could 96.5 do as a CB or as an Entercom country station that would be any different from XTU? Now, I'm well aware that there are plenty of markets that have 7, 8, 9 country radio stations. Could Philly handle 2? Probably not. So what could an upstart do to dethrone a 35-year heritage country station? I don't know. What would you do that's so different? Would the I was going to say Tim McGraw, Garth Brooks. I'm showing that I'm out of it. Who's hot in country? Dirk Bentley? Where's Jeff Ryan when you need him? He leaves the room right at his time to shine.
Right? Yeah. No. I mean, but it doesn't matter. Nobody's there. Nobody's listening.
Well, no, I think that they're listening. Country is one of these formats that I think still has terrestrial listeners. It's one of the few, I think, that has some kind of.
I mean, some, but not. It's not huge.
Well, what else could they do with that 96.5?
But the thing is this, you don't want to start up a country station on 96.5 and then 6 months later go, oh, well, it's not working, and then you got to change formats again, and there's a whole bunch of money you got to spend again. Wouldn't it just make more sense to plop KYW up on it?
No, we've talked about this. The reason why I don't now, my thoughts on the direction of KYW notwithstanding, the reason why, this comes down to a mathematical equation. Then you have whatever I don't know what KYW is billing these days. I don't have my latest edition of Duncan's American Radio in front of me, but let's just say, I'm just going to make up a wild number, $20 million. So if KYW is billing $20 million a year just with that AM signal, they move the station to the FM. What do you think KYW would bill on FM? Just give me a number. Just give me a shot in the dark. No, okay. Let's say that 1060 is billing $20 million a year, hypothetically. So now they do what you suggest. They move it to the FM. How much do you think KYW would bill now that it's on FM?
I wasn't suggesting. No, I wasn't suggesting a move to FM. I was saying a simulcast on FM like what's going down in Chicago with WBDN.
I understand that, but okay, but there was a reason why CBS did that in Chicago. Was because Randy Michaels' company was about to light up a competitor in Chicago.
Oh, I understand that.
That scenario is not happening here or anywhere else, and it won't ever happen again. Nobody is starting news radio in 2018. So there's no reason for Entercom to do that, because by doing that, you now are basically throwing away at least $10 million a year in revenue, because you're now giving up the revenue on one of your sticks by doing that.
Okay, so let's take it back to the 96.5 for a second. If there's no news to be done on the 96.5, would Entercom be the second company in the market of Philadelphia to maybe launch, I don't know, FM Spanish station on 96.5, since the options are limited of what to do on 96.5?
You never say never, but I don't think we're there. I don't think there is we saw this 10 years ago when Clear Channel did it with that 104. And I'm sure the numbers have changed a little bit in the past 10 years, but if you look at the overall Spanish-speaking demographics, Philadelphia is not the same as New York. It is not the same as, Philadelphia does not have that as large of a first-generation translation money demo what do you say, like first generation Spanish speakers, right? I mean, you have a lot of the younger Spanish speaking people in the metro also speak English. And keeping in mind, of course, Spanish is not a format, it's a language, so what type of Spanish would you do? I don't know, and I don't claim to be an expert in those formats, but I don't see that happening.
Well, if anything, Intercom has its work cut out with that 96.5 frequency. They're either going to try to do something else on there, or option number 2, they're going to sell it to another owner.
Well, they're not.
Again, no one.
No,
No one's figured out what to do with that frequency.
No. They're not going to sell it to another owner unless the owner is. There's only one owner I could see Intercom selling to, and that would be EMF, not unbelievable EMF, but
back up, please. Thank you.
EMF K-Love. And the only reason why.
God Squad.
What's going on? What am I hearing? What is that? I'm hearing that.
I think that might be.
Are you touching the microphone?
I'm adjusting my mic. That might have been that buzz.
The only reason commercial operators love selling to K-Love is because you eliminate a competitor from the market. So in doing that, and K-Love right now is on the KDN signal, not the best signal in the market. So EMF certainly has the money and has been now upgrading to full market signals. So that I could see happening. And once that signal goes to K-Love, and don't kid yourselves. I mean, if you don't know that format, it's easy to paint it in that. Much like there's no such format as Spanish, there's also no such format as religious. There's so many different, elements within that. And K-Love, I think, in Philadelphia is actually getting some respectable numbers. No billing because it's a non-commercial format. So Entercom and all of its competitors would love to see that signal go away. So much so that in many markets, I think it's been alleged that companies are letting stations go to K-Love well under market value just because they love the idea of eliminating a competitor. And Kyle, we saw that years ago where we were in Wilmington, Delaware with that 1380.
Right.
Everyone said it made no sense at all. Why on earth would you have this 1380 doing this automated road closure, which I think it's still doing, owned by the state of Delaware? I mean, it's a complete waste. But the reason the broadcasters down there all loved the idea was because they got rid of a competitor.
Yeah.
And there already were very limited signals in Wilmington, and now you just nuked another one.
Because it's so it's such a compressed area.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
It'll be interesting to watch. I mean, K-Love has been purchasing everything lately.
Yes.
Or EMF has been purchasing everything lately. So it'll be interesting to see, what happens. But I'm pretty sure they're happy with that 106.9 for now.
Well, yes, but I could see them moving K-Love to 96.5 and putting that Air 1, the younger format, on the 106. That seems to be what they're doing. I've seen other markets where they're doing that. They're upgrading to they're putting the flagship K-Love on the bigger signal and then putting Air 1 on another one. So I don't know. Time will tell, but I don't see the status quo continuing. I know some people are saying, oh, we're going to use it as a flanker. Come on. It's not a steak. Did someone say steak?
Hey, a steak show.
All right, well, I'm gonna listen to the rest of the program.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
No, he beat me to it. Thank you, Mike. We love you.
Love you too, you asshole.
Thank you, Mike. Mike from South Philly. He's not in South Philly.
Thank you,
anymore,
Mike.
But there he is. So there you go. There was some good radio content. Good to have some broadcast content.
Now let's bring on the
non-content. There's more
to
life than Mark Bramhall, Paul B. Walker is not an actor. There's so much more to life than this silly nonsense.
Sorry, I can't call in. I don't have a cell phone, and Mom won't let me borrow hers.
I thought Tim was setting him up with like a calling card, or
he threatened to, but he never did.
They've got no fucking.
Oh, come on! I don't like that language. Come on.
That stand up for the people who matter to them.
Okay.
God, Paul sounded like he was 15.
People these days are
that frees up a line at 610.
Too pussified.
901-0500 in Philadelphia, 610-901-0500. And still time to sneak a few more calls in.
My mom won't let me call.
He is still living in that area
Double
of
wide?
Connecticut, right?
Oh, yeah. He's still in Southington.
Still having to paint the walls?
He is not working at that supermarket.
He hasn't worked for over a year and a half. It's closing in on 2 years. He can't get a minimum wage grocery store job or
He
any
will be
entry level
out
for men.
for a management.
I've been saying that.
That's
Executive management.
Executive
He's
management.
got to have a corner office.
Mark Bramhall. You know there is an actor named Mark Bramhall?
There is. Yeah.
And I
Is there really?
was. Yeah. Now Mark. Wait, one of them is with a C and one's with a K. I can never remember which one.
Mark
is
is the C. Our Mark.
Our Mark. Jeez.
Hey.
9010500 area code 610. Hello. Let's see who this is on Radio Racket 2018. Happy New Year.
Calling to find out if my friend Trish has called in.
What? Trish the Dish.
That's not Trish.
Who do we have here?
I don't know. Who do we have here?
Is it her?
I don't recognize
I
her.
don't think
it's,
her
it's
voice
definitely
would be that
not.
high.
No, it's clearly not her.
Well, hold on. We'll solve this right now. Whoever you are, 21 times 10. Go.
Whoever I am? Excuse me, what? I can hear.
Multiply 21 times 10. How quickly can you do it?
Oh.
All right. Joker! What happened to the call screening? It died? It died?
That came up as a private.
A private.
They blocked
And
it out.
I'm sorry about... I made that comment about private. All right. 901-0500, area code 610, Philadelphia.
I mean-
610-901-0500.
If you're going to call and prank, at least be fucking funny. I mean, seriously, that was just stupid.
That was pretty dumb. That was. Remember when we got hit by that supposedly legendary crank caller?
Yes.
Like West Coast Willie or whatever
The
that.
South Side.
Yeah, it was something stupid like that. And and Brian in Pittsburgh knew who he was. Like, oh wow, that guy's he's famous. He's on Opie and Anthony all the time. I said, sugar.
Yeah.
But he hit us, and it was the most unfun. At first, we were like, "Oh wow, well, I guess we've hit the big time." A real crank caller, a real crank caller is calling us. I guess that means that we've hit the big time. And then we find out that it's just, it's just a bunch of.
And what did they say? What were they saying? You've been hit by? Was it?
No, that was when they called Raleigh.
The
Right, the O&A Army.
Hey,
Right.
Raleigh, you've been hit. I've been hit. I've been hit by what? By the O&A Army.
Yeah. What did our tool say? I don't remember.
It was even less funny. At least the O&A Army was funny, but it was funnier because of what Raleigh did with it. Because they were hoping to get her all bent out of shape and
Right.
upset, and instead she just kind of rolled with it. And this guy was so crestfallen.
Yeah.
He was just he was so proud of himself. I'm with the O&A Army. O&A, what is that? Not O-N-A, O&A. Opie and Anthony. Oh, they're on XM and I'm on XM, so any friend of Opie and Anthony, I guess, is a friend of mine. What else is on your mind? Nothing. But, bye, Raleigh. Okay, bye. It was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was good stuff. All right, let's see. So Kyle thinks it's
I
the
think
same.
it's the same idiot.
It's the same one. Should we do what RJ did on 1540 and ride the pot up and down? Hello, we're riding your pot up and down. Hello.
Are you there?
Hello, are you there? Hello. You're wasting valuable bandwidth. All these people trying to get through. You know, what can I tell you, boys? Start being professional. All right.
Start being professional, and I'll treat you professional.
So, Kyle, I know you're dying to talk about some more non-content. Now, who have we not heard from? Now, I know Rob was trying to get through. Not Rocking Rob. Oh, did you want me to play the?
He's seemingly disappeared. Is that that's what I'm hearing?
I don't know. Sorry, Jeffrey. What on earth is that?
That's my Sierra. I don't know. She must have heard me.
Oh, please don't tell me you have one of those activated that's listening to you at all times. Oh my goodness!
I don't think I have a choice in the matter.
You are one of those. How?
No, I'm not one of those.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you are one of those. If you have,
I do ask Siri dirty things sometimes.
Oh, see, what's the matter with you?
I did that the other day.
What is? Oh, that's not it. I thought that was. Maybe this is it right here. Stand by. I don't know if this is the right I wasn't sure about this. Wait, what was this? No. All right, here we go. That was me.
I think that was one of your better ones, actually.
Thank you.
I want you to talk this up. You stepped over my vote. We're going to do it again. We'll do it again.
No, cue it up. Let him do it again.
All right. Are you ready?
How long is the rant? That's like a 12
that's
second.
12 seconds. All right. Rocking Rob, take one.
Yes.
Go.
He's number one for classic hits. 175 Frank FM.
Oh, come on! My finger bumped into it. I can't shut the screen off when I do this.
You sound like Kermit the Frog when you sing that.
What a terrible thing to lose. Hi-ho there. It's a living thing.
All right.
I'm taking a dive. I think this is going rather well.
Here we go. 70. Okay, this is... No, wait. 72.
Bruce Starr sings the hits.
See what happens.
Okay, I won't bump into it this time.
I want you to talk this up. You stepped over my vote.
You stepped over.
We'll do it again.
No, cue it up. Let him do it again.
All right. Are you ready?
How long is the rant? That's like a 12
that's
second.
12 seconds. All right. Rocking Rob, take one.
Yes.
Go.
He's number one for classic hits. 175 Frank FM. Rocket Rob on a Saturday night. Getting you in the mood with some All Right Now. Free Frank FM.
You have 2 more seconds.
That actually wasn't too bad.
All right, let's try it again. We're going to try to hit the post this time. Ready? Take 2.
Crazy number one with
That's okay. It's okay.
You're live. You got to do it. You got to keep going.
It's okay. No, everyone just relax. You're making him too nervous. I want everyone to just settle down and relax. Tape 3, go.
number one for classic hits.
And he keeps doing it, though. That's...
Settle down and relax. Tape 3, go.
Ratings number one for classic hits. 107.5 Frank FM. Rocket Rob on Saturday night. Here we go with some Frank. Free. I think you're throwing me under the bus.
There's no bus.
Rob, I just said your first break was good.
There's no bus. The first one was actually not bad.
Take 5.
What did you think? Which one was the best one? I guess
the first one was the best.
Yeah, so this is one of our classic bits that went from the really early days of the show. One of our most requested things that we could never play because we didn't have it on.
Are you able to, maybe it's not his fault, are you able to hear the record over the phone?
Now.
It's, I'm not on the board running the controls and everything.
Just, can you hear him? Yes or no?
That impedes everything a little bit.
All right, take 5.
Ratings number one for classic rock hits. It's Frank FM, 907.5.
Is it true the Frank FM studios were in an old Wendy's?
I have no idea. I've never been. Where I live now is actually very close to the radio station, but it's Christian. It's not. It was only that for a short time.
In the school district I work for, and I sent a picture to George. One of the maintenance vehicles has a Frank FM sticker on it. So anytime that's parked outside of the school and I'm walking in, I just started laughing.
I really wonder what that guy's up to.
Radio Racket, hello, 2018. That's the year.
Hello?
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 Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
You are on the air.
First time caller line, you're on the air.
Kyle should not curse at your 11-year-old daughter.
His 11-year-old daughter heard it?
Yes, hold on, here she is.
Well,
she needs better calls. That was your daughter cranking us.
What?
That was your daughter.
You didn't recognize the sound of your own daughter's voice, George?
No.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I am ashamed of myself for a variety of reasons, but that's not.
It's not very nice.
No, I didn't. You know what's funny, Hannah?
I love Hannah.
Hannah sounds all grown up.
Well, she is. Talk 500 is running the old reruns. I saw a car chain now. My reruns are running.
I have no idea what you're saying.
And
it's like really, I can't tell.
And one of the shows that was running on Kyle's thing the other day was Hannah. Infant on there, and now she's all grown.
Daddy.
Yes. Hello.
I was wondering if you could talk about your songs. like Brand New Key and Woman in Love?
Yes, I have. I've done Barbra Streisand. I am a woman in love, and I do anything. Let's see here. But what else? Actually, that really was an accident. I did not intend it.
I am woman, hear me roar.
I had.
That's Helen
Yeah, my latest one, because every year I like to unveil, as you would say, a new one. So this year, I guess, I'd forgotten all about this.
Oh, is this a world debut here?
Well, no, you've heard this one. They haven't heard it, but this is, the ELO I did.
Just played it a minute.
It was Jeff's idea. Jeff was the one who suggested.
I recommended Electric Light Orchestra. Yes, I did.
But you didn't tell me the song. You just said, I think ELO, was that it?
I would have preferred Living Thing, but I'll take what you did.
I did Living Thing.
You did? Oh, they did. Never mind. I'm thinking of...
he doesn't listen to the karaoke.
No. I was thinking of Evil Woman.
Oh, I could do that also. Just a little quick peek.
Sailing away on the crest of a wave, it's like magic.
This one was actually done in the studio.
Rolling and riding and slipping and sliding, it's magic.
You said you didn't think this was one of my better ones.
And you and your sweet desire.
See?
My kids love the ABBA one that you've done.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I don't know if I have. I don't know if I have the. I don't know if I have the ABBA one on here.
Yeah, Dancing Queen. William loves the part where you go.
I do have it.
William loves the middle part where you go. I think this is going well. I think this is going well. He starts laughing uncontrollably.
I think it's going well.
Yes, that part.
Okay. That's how that goes. All right. Well,
meanwhile, Michael Klein's sitting there listening to our show, so we're going to write an article about it. And
this is what it's devolved to, right? That is it. And we actually, the hit counter's rather healthy. And I'll tell you, though, it's not so much Q.
How did that happen?
But if you look at the TSLs you look at those TSLs, Kyle.
It's insane.
I mean, could you tell me?
We can't say they've fallen asleep either.
What radio station would kill for those These people have been listening since before we went live.
Yep.
It's so crazy.
They love us.
See, George, those are all the Racket haters.
Now, yeah, I mean, it's. I didn't want to talk about this on the air, but I guess since it's come up,
and it's not really the air.
The future of the show, I don't know. I didn't think the show had a future, but the fact that these thousands of people are listening for 4 hours, it's hard to ignore, Jeff. It's hard to ignore.
There are some people on the Racket Facebook, the names I don't recognize. I don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, though, right?
Yeah.
That's good. Well, Hannah, thank you for calling. And I'm sorry Kyle hung up on you, but you were being a joker. What?
Maybe they were also infants when your show started.
Well, they were. Well, we had Tim. We had Tim on, and he wasn't an infant, but he was, a teenager. Florida Nate, we had. In fact, I got to meet Florida Nate.
Yeah, a
few months ago, so that was exciting. And my goal is to eventually meet everybody, one by one. So, one at a time. I figure at the rate I'm going, we'll be done in 2150. So, all right. Well, Jill and/or Hannah, thank you, and I guess we'll see you after the show, which should be soon. Okay.
Okay, see you.
Okay. Bye. That's.
Go work on your crank call skills.
Yeah. So you were really rude to, or as that caller said on Raleigh, you were rough to that last caller there. Yeah. Well, I have a low tolerance for bad crank calls.
We sell one thing on this show:
love.
We were the show of love. I love that one. Sorry to say, the late Jim Williams had that one. I think I have it in here where he's. It's the show of love with the game show fanfare.
Yep. I think we're more so the show of indifference right now.
Well, whatever. We show up once a year, and that's the level of commitment that I think.
Still challenging at times.
Well, I mean, this thing. Well, the one thing is, look how much trouble Jeff had flying out here this time. So it's not like he's going to be coming out more than once a year. In fact, I am honored that he still comes out once a year.
I really just come from the Ocean City.
Well, yeah, but that's just a bonus. The real thing is right here. This is the real action right here.
The real deal.
But I don't know if this kind of a show would be, as the millennials and some would say, sustainable. I don't know if you could do something. I mean, I certainly couldn't talk about translators and
No, I mean,
every week.
No, there's nothing to talk about in radio anymore.
I don't even listen to the radio anymore.
No, but
I haven't listened to radio in like 10 years.
Talk about other things, and we did say back during the show that it was a show about radio and other things.
I don't know how they're going to continue without, being part of radio, which they wish they were.
No.
But I mean, could we do a weekly or a more? 'Cause actually, it's funny. When I was down here earlier, doing some quick prep and whatnot before you guys got here, Katie, my daughter, came down and she was asking questions about the show, and she's like, I'm like, well, honey, we used to do this every week. We used to be on every week, not from here, but she's like, well, you went from 52 shows a year to one. I'm like, yes.
And it's still too much.
And she's like, well, why don't you do more? I said, well, we'd like to, and we just may do that, but the whole focus of the show would have to change.
Well, it would, and I could see well, I got to be careful what I say, because they're going to be on that Facebook. Did you hear he's dropping hints? No. But I don't. Hypothetically, okay. Hypothetically, go ahead and say it again. Hypothetically, a Radio Racket, as they would say today, reboot.
With the same cast of characters.
I mean, geez, everything else is rebooting. Why not this?
That means Hollywood's officially run out of ideas.
It means, well, it also means that we've run out of ideas.
Well, that's a true statement.
Well, yeah, they're bringing back, they're digging Paul Walker back up and Mark Bramhall from the trailer and Mike Phillips with the cat. Or not Mike, who had the cat? No, Bramhall with the cat. Oh, what the hell? Throw him in there, too. They got Steve Bryant on there. Steve's doing those country songs now. Did you know that?
Yep.
I must say, the last one that I heard, Raleigh played one of his.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't him singing. It was, I guess, what they call it, a spec.
He writes and tries to sell them.
In radio, we would call it a spec spot, but I guess they do that in the music industry. They get just a studio session singer to just sing it, to sell it to a big name artist. And the last one that Raleigh played, it was not bad, Jeff. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. So let's see. That frees up a line at Philadelphia. Line's open right now, 610-901-0500.
I'm not going to massage Steve Bryant's ego until he buys me another cheeseburger.
Well, you don't have to. I'm just saying it is what it is. I thought it was pretty good. 610-901-0500 is the number in Philadelphia. That line is open right now if you want to jump on in and grab it before we shut the thing down for another year. And I'm actually, I will admit, I am intrigued by the fact that the hit counter is. I mean, I had very low expectations given the time slot. It'll be interesting to see what happens as the night goes on, and also we have Tommy T with us on WDTT carrying the show as we build the network here. A Radio Racket reboot would not talk about Entercom and Beasley and Clear Channel every week. That I can tell you right now. So if it could segue into something else, who knows? But I do think that the show 10 years ago was one of the best kept secrets, and there were plenty of people who knew about it, but given and Kyle mentioned this on Raleigh's show last night, if it had come out a few years later, I think it would have been something even bigger, because between social media and the smartphones, those two elements right there, we didn't have. And if we had just stuck around a little bit longer, we would have had that. So that's my statement on the situation there.
Tim,
big time.
Tim Burke just informed me that we should now be searchable on TuneIn.
Oh, cool! Just in time for the end of the show.
He has the original pulling up the backup.
Okay, so they're both on now.
Right.
Okay, so this hit counter is there's actually more than this, because there's another server. We're on 3 feeds right now,
right?
And I'm only looking at the hit counter for one.
Yeah. Yes.
You see that, Roscoe? Maybe there should be a Racket reboot. We'll fly double R in.
I would pay for that.
J-Bay, I wish I could do a Phil Hendry thing and pick up a phone.
J-Bay.
I'm in the mood to do a bit. I'm inspired.
Hey, Brewstar.
I'm feeling the exact opposite now as I was 3 hours ago. I'm inspired to do a bit, and I have no infrastructure.
Diamond Joe wants to know, would the Julius May commentary be part of a reboot?
Diamond Joe. No, Paul, you shut up. Diamond Joe would be part of the reboot. Diamond Joe and Rhonda. Because Rhonda was only with us, I think, for the very tail end of the show, right? Or maybe even the beginning of the...
I think just the
annuals.
The annuals.
Do you realize we've been doing these annuals now longer than we were doing the actual show?
Absolutely.
The annuals have
First annual was in 2013. This would be the 5th one.
The annuals, we have perennials, we have everything. So
America Vespucius.
Yes, I think that Julius May. Now, I don't know though, Kyle, because I think we scared him away. We've not talked about
You scared
this.
him away.
Well, you did it.
You told him his brains were going to ooze out his ears.
I did. And he believed it. I'm sorry. Is he listening right now, Julius? Okay.
I have no idea.
Julius, I want you to pick up the phone. And I already checked it with everyone. You pick up the phone, and he's got that rotary thing. So 6 1 0 9010500, and we'll put you right through the way Raleigh put Kyle through last night. Julius May commentary, absolutely, but no. What happened? He was emailing you every day, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, yeah.
About
just about every
one particular. I can't remember what station it was. One particular radio station that he kept asking you about. So if you remember, we concocted this story that. The president was acquiring 12
I'm taking credit for that one.
And that's you had said that as a joke, and I repeated it.
Went with it.
And I said, and he was.
I shared it with Julius.
He started calling. He called the Inquirer.
Have you heard? He ate it up with a spoon.
And we said, that they're digging up those.
Who was the GM at 1210 at the time?
At what time?
When we
Yageroff, was it?
Yeah, because I told him that David Yageroff was going to be meeting with Trump in the Oval Office.
Yes. There was Secret Service all over the ballot kit.
It was going to be Trump 1210.
Yeah. Well, no, it was going to be it was going to be Trump Radio, because they dug up the old jingles. Remember Trump Radio 1210, and so he got through to the Daily News and the Inquirer, and I think at Fox 29, right? He said that Fox 29 said they've not heard this.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're Radio Racket.
We got the scoop.
So he kept emailing Kyle
for months.
So
every goddamn day.
So I said, okay, Kyle, you just tell him that I said that if he doesn't stop contacting you, that Darth Vader is going to come down from the planet Vulcan.
Yes.
And melt his brain.
That's no jive.
And Kyle did it, and has not heard one word from Julius. Of course, now I realize I should not assume that that everyone listening knows the Back to the Future reference, because we're getting old.
Right, we're all going to hell.
But that is what happened. So that being said, let's go to line 1. The Philadelphia line we'll go to, and Julius in Nicetown, Tire. You're on. Hello.
Yes, this is Michael Phillips again. I'm sorry to call you back, but I've got a proposal for you. We have a female who actually on the Periscope that wants to be a co-host for one of your future broadcasts.
What, next year?
Think about that.
All right, I want you to send all the information to my producer, Kyle DeWitt. Send everything to Kyle.
Send your letter.
Send her.
One thing I forgot to mention, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I appreciate you doing this. Let me on again. Is that the Good Morning America producer actually picked up on that train thing, Kyle? I don't know if you mentioned that part or not.
No, we didn't.
Okay, well, the Good Morning America producer sent me an email on Twitter letting me know that the whole ABC universe was watching that coverage from the train, from the derailment on Periscope.
All right, well, Mike, can you send that information to Kyle, please?
Have her send her tape and resume.
All right, guys, listen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is my might be my final call, so I want to wish you well. God bless you all.
Okay, well, thank you. Your final call tonight. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Thank you. As Mike Phillips, he's back in Port Richmond. He's back in Port Richmond now.
The poor people of Port Richmond.
He was Mike from Port Richmond forever. I used to like listening to him calling in the Phillies pregame as Mike from Port Richmond and
the poor people of Port Richmond.
And you know, I forgot to ask him about. Remember, I was telling you about when he was saying he was going to run for mayor. I forgot. Remember, I was telling you about that. I forgot to ask you about that.
That'd go real well.
You know how it always happens, Kyle, as we're about to shut down the show, that's when everyone starts calling in. But now that I realize so Jeff, can you believe this? We've only been looking at one hit counter of the three. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. I'm stupid. Radio Racket 2018, before we shut this one down for another year. Hello, who's this?
Hey, guys.
Who do we have here?
It's Paul Walker.
No, it's not. Who is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, prove it's you, Paul Walker. I want you to no. Stop. No, turn it off. No.
I can't.
Paul, if it's really you, I want you to repeat after me, and I'll be the judge whether or not it is really you. Are you ready?
Yeah, your audio.
What happened to him?
He hung up on him. Oh, he's such a douche.
I wanted to verify whether or not it was him.
Don't worry, he'll call back.
That was Paul. 100%.
I was going to have him. I had a whole bit set to go, and you ruined it.
That was my bit.
Yeah. George's bit would have been better.
Well,
I'd say
trust
thank you,
me,
but that's a low bar.
He will call back.
All right, let's see about this. Okay, Radio Racket. No, don't hang up on the callers. Radio Racket. Hello, who's this?
It's me again.
I'm sorry, we have a one call per show.
No! Stop it, Jeff.
Okay. Okay. If it's really you, Paul, I want you to say, George, I'm not going to call in anymore unless you can keep Roscoe in check.
I'm back. It's really me.
Yeah, it is.
That's him.
It is. Okay, well, don't hang up on him because I actually have questions. And I want to see, because
I know what Kyle's question is. Well,
I think it's time.
Miller's here, so I'm not going to repeat it.
I think it's time to see if Paul...
Turn down the audio you feed over the phone line. It's really loud. So loud, I think.
It's annoying. Please stop.
What's the matter, Paul? Where are you?
It hurts my ears.
Where are you right now? Where are you?
I am in Ridgeway, Pennsylvania.
Okay, and what are you doing there?
I'm about to get fired from another job.
You're not working in radio anymore, so what are you doing there?
I'm not working full time right now, but
well, it's my understanding you're not working any time right now.
No,
What now?
I heard things didn't go well at the station, so are you going to get back on the air?
I was working here for about 6 months before they fired me.
Now, okay, so now I know there's a lot you can't talk about because of litigation, but the dismissal, it's my understanding it had something to do with a hound?
Yeah, what now? What about your audio? I'm having a hard time understanding you.
This is like the Pat Delsey call to RJ.
Do you want to use my mic? Because supposedly they can hear my mic better.
All right. This does sound better. Yeah. Why is that? We have everything processed the right. Does this sound any more clear? I'm talking into the Kyle microphone now, Paul.
It's not as loud. It's a little better.
All right. Well,
I'm very picky about audio.
So I understand there was an incident that led to your dismissal involving a hound. Can you elaborate?
I was fired because I was blamed for stuff I didn't do, including losing a piece of equipment.
How do you lose equipment?
What piece of equipment did I lose?
Well, how did it happen? Tell me about it.
It was a piece of a Verizon USB dongle, something that cost like $50.
So why didn't you just give them the $50? Why did you?
I wasn't given the opportunity.
Did you really lose the equipment?
What now?
Did you really lose the equipment, or were you framed?
I can't prove it either way. I can't prove I didn't lose it. They can't prove I did.
How would you feel if we got the management from the radio station on and we could do a, like a people's court kind of a thing?
I-Team.
Yeah, I don't think so. I've already been on that show once. That was enough.
Wait. They were on... Wait, you were on the people's court?
Yep.
Pardon me?
Paul was on the people's court?
Yeah, I was. Back in 2005, I was on the people's court. I got sued and I lost.
I was just making this up. I can't believe this. Wait a minute. Okay, go on YouTube right now. Is there a copy of this on YouTube?
I have a copy, but I 150% I was on the people's court. You're going to laugh why I was on, too.
I believe him. Paul may be a lot of things to Roscoe, but he's never lied, right? I mean, I don't think... Roscoe, am I wrong? Paul has never misrepresented anything.
He's been forthright.
Now, Paul is honest.
I was sued for losing a guy's air checks of him from the 80s.
And this made the people's court. These little old ladies are watching the TV. What's an air check?
I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard not to laugh here, but this is amazing. You learn something.
He goes out to talk to Doug Llewellyn. So, Mr. Walker.
Do you realize the bits we could have done with this on the old show? And he sat there. And you knew damn well you were on there.
You sat on this.
But you knew about it, didn't you, Paul?
I thought I told Kyle I'd been on people's court before. I thought he knew.
Okay, so wait. So you're standing there, and Wapner is just staring you down. Was it Wapner or was it Mayor Koch?
Broad.
It was Judge Marilyn Millian.
What?
Oh, some woman.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
You mean to tell me the People's Court did an episode on air checks?
Yep. Yeah, what ended up happening was the guy sued me in small claims court, and what the production company does is they search small courts, claims, cases for cases, and the guy who sued me and I got a letter asking if we wanted to appear on the show and settle the case, which we did, and basically what ends up happening, I've been asked this 500 times, is the money that I was sued for, even though I lost, what ends up happening is you get paid an appearance fee.
Oh yeah, and it comes out of the pool.
Money the person sued for.
Yeah, no, I know that. It comes out of the pool. So you still got your appearance fee, and then I guess, no actual money came out of your pocket.
But you still had to do jail time, right?
No, so you went out to...
I got
Rick a new asshole.
No. Wait, so you went to Hollywood?
No, New York City.
Oh, I thought this was done. Oh, yeah, I guess if Ed Koch was on it, it had to be.
It wasn't Ed Koch. He was on with the female judge.
No, but I'm saying at some point production moved from Hollywood to the East Coast, because I remember when it was. I like the old people's court. All these shows they don't know when it's time to say goodnight. If it's not Wapner, like
kind of like ours.
Wow!
I do have a digital copy of the show that I'll send to Kyle.
Okay, yeah,
that would be excellent.
Please do. This is.
And please send it to all your friends, Kyle.
The whole time, the whole time we were doing that show, and we were looking for anything. Could you imagine what he sat on this information the whole time, knowing damn well we would have gone to town on this?
Hey, Paul, can I ask you a question?
Me?
Yeah.
No, Jeff, it's not funny. It's not funny.
Him getting aggravated is funny.
But he's not even getting aggravated. I'm getting aggravated.
But that's easy to do.
Yeah. Well, Paul, I think this is just an amazing situation.
The show's over in 10 minutes anyway.
And I think it's just it's amazing. I think it's amazing. All right.
I think it's great he lost.
Okay. We need to really go through these now. So, okay. Radio Racket, a few minutes left. Hello.
Don't hang up on me again.
Okay, well, actually, now I have to hang up.
Well, let's all take turns.
The show is over. But Paul, I think it's amazing, and we're going to have some fun with this.
You're gushing over Paul Walker.
Yeah, that's something's not right here.
Yeah, I will send it. I will send it to Kyle here tonight.
Okay, well, geez, that's bad. Okay, well, Paul, thank you, and we may have a lead for you, so we'll be talking with you and getting our finder's fee.
We look forward to your next firing.
All right, Paul, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Paul.
He's amazing. Amazing guy. All right, Wayne.
He's a broadcasting legend up and down the Eastern Seaboard.
Who was that? Grant? Someone said that. Now he's a guy who's been trained. He's been trained.
At numerous facilities.
I've been trained. No, I've been trained more. All right. I'm just looking at my notes here to make sure there's anything else here that I have on here. No. Tune in, the engineering problems. You know, Kyle and I, we figured that we have spent, what did I say, Kyle? Like 65 man-hours?
Probably, yeah.
Between the two of us, maybe even 75, trying to get ready for a 3-hour show. And I said, now, it's almost like we have to do more shows here because I'm not spending all this time in the studio to do 3 hours. But right now, the way things are, life in the way right now. And maybe if things get a bit better, we'll be able to do more. But right now, once a year, I think is all we can do. I did want to, I need to watch what I say here. I'm going to watch. I need to watch what I say here. But I think this may be the first year we've done these annuals.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the first, but it's one of the few. And I'm happy to say that we don't have any Racketeer passings to talk about.
Yes.
I think.
That's a good point.
I think, and I hope that is the case. And, but there were some big radio passings and people who, when you think about all of the people who have been on the show who we have lost, especially guests, I'm just listening to that John Rook. It's been a few years since we lost John, but I was just so captivated listening to that. And it was at the point where every time I heard my voice, I'm yelling at the radio, like, shut up! I want to hear John Rook, just shut up! But that was just so great. The most obvious one is Dan Ingram, who really may have been, or may be, I don't know, past tense, present tense, the greatest top 4 overall, if you take the overall package. Now, there's no way to truly say who was the greatest disc jockey of all time. You can't answer that question. But if you were to take on the aggregate, everything from timing, voice, humor, everything involved. He had it all. I mean, it was amazing. And me. Rob Federer and I, and Jonathan, and it was because of Jonathan, had a chance to hang out with Dan Ingram for just 1 hour. And of that hour, we only had about 5 minutes, just one-on-one with him. And it was one of the few times in my life I can truly say I was terrified. I'm just terrified to meet him because he was just such a giant. And within 30 seconds, I felt at ease. Within 30 seconds, I felt at ease. I have been listening a lot to, and I don't even know why I'm going to ask you guys this, but I'm going to. What was the problem we had on the old show with Alan Sniffen? There was some incident we had where we were going back and forth.
Something that happened on the dental board.
But I don't remember what it was.
I don't know if he commented on. I think he commented on one of my posts on Radio Discussion, on Radio Info. Because there were times I would go post on the New York board, about the show, but I think he commented, and we let him have it.
I remember it got bad, and then we started calling it the dental board and all this stuff like that. As evidenced by the fact you still remember that. But I have been listening to his station, and I must say I am just loving it. I am just absolutely loving his presentation. I actually called it, or I emailed him a few weeks ago, and I'm just enjoying his stuff so much. And when Dan passed away a few weeks ago, he did something similar to kind of when we've had a passing from one of our people, and we would go into that kind of like mourning mode, and that was where he was for a few days, and it was just so captivating to listen to. So I would really like it if in the next year at some point we could olive branch, bury the hatchet, whatever. I don't even think he remembers who we are at this point, so that might be easier than not. So I just wanted to say that. Also, another passing, and I don't know if this was, and forgive me, I don't know if this was in the past year or not. Kyle might have a better read of this. I think it was in the past year that we lost Kevin Fennessy. Was that in this past year, or was that?
It was. I think so.
I think it was not long after the last show we did. And this is kind of, funny, and I don't know if it's funny, funny, but and it dovetails with Paul Walker's call, believe it or not. I was listening to one of the Racket replays a few days ago, and I was talking about the time that I spent the day with Kevin up in Scranton in the mid-'90s.
Oh, I remember this story.
With Kevin, you think I have this great air check collection, and
it was
maybe
last August.
Compared to Tori, maybe I do. But Kevin Fennessy's air check collection was, I can't even begin to wonder what kinds of things that he had. And, I can't help but wonder, and this is crass, but it's been almost a year now, so I can say, well, I wonder what happened to that air check collection. And I really hope that it has been preserved, because you hear this all the time.
You and I have a gentleman's agreement. When you go, I get your.
We do, because he assumes that I'm going to kick it before him.
Of course.
So, but it made me wonder about that. And now you've heard Uncle Ricky passed away a few weeks ago. So Real Radio is gone now. Nobody seems to know where all of those air checks are. Hold on, I'm going to reset this. Hold on. We're back, and we're back.
All right, gentlemen, I need to scoot.
It got me wondering, what would happen to air checks and air check insurance. And then Paul Walker tells me he was on the People's Court.
He's going to send me that.
He's going to send that to you. So we're going to.
It's going to be amazing.
We're going to wrap this up.
We already have material for next year's show now.
Kyle needs to leave, and we actually need to leave.
I'm starving. Let's go get something to eat.
So it's a few minutes before 9, and we'll just say thank you to all of the beautiful people who made this possible tonight. Thanks to Tim. We're not calling him Tim the Banner. It's Tim B. Tim B. really coming through. Tommy T. Thank you. RJ and all of the callers. You're on right now. You're on.
Put it up higher.
And all of the callers.
Thank you for making our show so listened to across the USA.
No, thank you. And it's been a show. It started out a little rocky, but we got there. So that's how that goes. We're, the daytime thing was an interesting experiment, but I think next year we go back to our usual slot.
There is no usual anymore.
I forgot I have to pull this up. Jeez, I wasn't ready. I didn't realize how late it is. Bump 4. Okay. So that's how that goes. If you're listening live, we're going to get the replay going. Tommy T is going to rerun this.
It will repeat.
So that's a show.
Peace out, everybody.
Right there. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Gross. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
We'll reconvene 1 year. We'll see you then. Okay. This is Talk 500. Okay.
Because of you. Smokers are usually, forgive me if you're listening, radio, rock, and punk. RJ is Jesus. He walks on water.
I'm going to have to hang up. Unfortunately.